This episode of Bringing the Backups is sponsored by Ha Ha Hot Sauce. Comedian Dave Yates had an idea to teach himself how to make hot sauce, and people liked it so much, he started selling it as his merch after shows. Ha Ha Hot Sauce combines orange, pear, apple cider vinegar as the base with the Carolina Reaper, the hottest plant according to Guinness. This hot sauce is both flavorful and hot. If I had to pick two things I want my hot sauce to be, it's flavorful and hot in that order. Pick up a bottle from Dave Yates after a comedy show or visit hahahotsauce.com. This episode is also brought to you by the Kennedy Space Center, America's #1 NASA tourist attraction. Come on down to Cape Canaveral to see the Space Shuttle Atlantis, the Red Planet, and even a rocket launch. You can also visit their brand new exhibit on extraterrestrial life called Times We Fucked Aliens. This revolutionary exhibit shows all the great moments in secret alien fucking human history, including Buzz Aldrin getting head on the moon, John Glenn's zero-gravity 69ing of a space hooker, and the Tom DeLonge Martian money shot. The Kennedy Space Center, because if the Air Force is going to come clean, I guess fuck it. Lastly, we're brought to you by the XFL. Hey, did you know The Rock bought the XFL? That's kind of cool. The XFL. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, you must be smelling pedestrian quarterback play and mostly empty stadiums. Oh, what is up? Welcome to Bringing the Backups. I'm your host, Erick Hellwig. Great to be here on the season finale of Bringing the Backups. That makes it seem like one of the main characters is going to get shot. There's no big cliffhangers or anything. We're just going to be taking a break for most of the month of August, coming back in early September. But before we do, let's get to this episode, our final episode. We're talking about quarterback Craig Whelihan. So any San Diego Chargers fans out there, I don't know what you've been doing with your time, I guess getting really into the Padres since your team left. I don't know, maybe you're still traveling up to LA. It's weird. Your team moved too close to where you used to be. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Craig Whelihan's the quarterback on the show today. That'll be fun. We're also sponsored by Ha Ha Hot Sauce. Those 3 ads I read in the top, only one of them's real, and it is, of course, Dave Yates. Go to hahahotsauce.com to support our sponsor for this episode. The guest we're talking to today is Brett Lorin. He is a former minor league baseball pitcher and a current podcaster for the Too Tall Sports podcast, which you can catch on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can also follow Brett at Too Tall Sports on Twitter. That's the best place to catch him there and see updates for the show. He has a great show. All of you, I hope you take the time to go check it out. You will enjoy it. Here we go. We're gonna get right into the episode. I'm excited. I'm thinking maybe for season 2, I don't do that, oh, what is up thing, because sometimes I'm like in a weirder mood and like it feels fake, and to be like, oh, what is up, if I'm not really feeling it, you know? But then it would also be if I just came with my mood and I was sad and I was like, oh, what is up, everybody? Then that would be weird too. It feels like I feel a little pigeonholed into it. You know, I guess this is the kind of thoughts you have when a first season of a podcast is coming to an end. What am I going to do moving forward? Well, look, all those answers will be settled soon enough. But for now, enjoy the final episode of season 1 of Bringing the Backups. It is a hot episode. Fuck me. God, I hate that I did that. I got to do a second take of this one and cut that joke, right? That can't be in the season finale that I do what I just did. And then all this time spent talking about it, there's no way this is going to make it too. Obviously, I'm going to edit this out. Enjoy the show. This is Bringing the Backups with Erick Hellwig. Oh, season finale, huh? We did it! I love that if you guys listen to this podcast, you know, one of my favorite things to do is go to other people's podcasts who have quit and see them promising how they're going to be coming back in a couple weeks, and they never do. But I want to make it very clear that I am not quitting my podcast, all right? I'm taking a little break for the month of August. You know, I figured the best time to put the halts on a football podcast is a month before all football starts back up, right? It's a good time. Take a little break. But you know what? It's not my choice. Life has made some decisions for me, all right? We're going to be doing a little bit of traveling. I've been to a couple comedy festivals coming up here. I started a new job, which, I'll tell you more about, when we start season 2 in September. Ooh, teaser. I'll tell you a little bit more about the new job, and I'll shit more fully on my old one, but I still have to work there for another week, so hang on, season 2, bigger guest, hopefully, some new elements to the show I wanted to add on, that'll be fun, and, most importantly, me shitting on my current job, but I can't do it. Like I said, I can't do it now, because, you never know who's listening out there, huh? I need the money. I need the money for the... Jeez, when's my last day at the job? It's going to be like the 12th or the 13th, something like that, of August. So yeah, it's going to be a crazy month here coming up, just kind of getting ready for it. And I figured it was a good time to take a little break from the pod so I can, get caught up on stuff, creative things. I'm also bringing back my stand-up show to Los Angeles. Yeah, how about that, huh? Barely making it LA. You guys don't even know about it because the whole time we've had this podcast, the show hasn't existed. It was obviously pre-COVID. We didn't turn it into a Zoom show because we have self-respect, but that show's going to be coming back. So when the podcast comes back, we're going to have fun stuff to debut, more live shows to get you guys to come see me do stand-up at. It's just going to be cool. Like I said, we want to offer new stuff. Get the Patreon up, huh? That was another thing that I'm going to get to take a month here to kind of start prepping for that. By the way, if you guys do want to support me so I don't have to work these jobs I don't give a shit about, you can do that. You know how you do it? You go to erickhellwig.com and you buy one of those shitty t-shirts I made. Yeah. I sold a bunch of those in the first month that I opened up the store, but I haven't sold jack since I started, or since I should say after the first month. But yeah, somebody surprised me, huh? Go get yourself a coffee mug, a t-shirt, a little sweatshirt, huh? I got hoodies on there that are pretty nice, a football jersey type t-shirt as well. That's been the fan favorite so far, I'd say, out of all the merch that people have bought. It's cool, man. Look, I'm excited. Something that I think you have to establish with people is that you're not going to quit stuff. I actually end up talking, my interview today is with Brett Lorin, very good podcaster. I met him doing his show. We connected online, as I have with a lot of people in the last year doing my show. And Brett's a fan of the show. He's got a great podcast himself, Too Tall Sports Podcast. You can follow it at Too Tall Sports on Twitter. And better yet, you can just listen to it. Apple Podcasts. It's on YouTube as well. All this stuff, as always, linked in the bio. If you're on YouTube, scroll down, you'll see it. You guys are going to be very happy with the direction of the show. We got some real... I don't want to look, whatever. It is what it is. I'm trying to get more football guys on the show. Right? I'm trying to get some of these quarterbacks on, huh? Can I do it? Can I book them? I got Jabron on the show. I got a little taste of actual football guy. It's like, I love talking to my friends who are comics, and I'm still going to do that. But, at a certain point, how much can you complain about not getting spots at fucking alt shows until people are like, all right, buddy, this football is all over the title of your show. Let's get some more athletes up there. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I feel like that'll be good for the show, right? But whatever, you guys. I don't know if you're listening at this point. It's like, well, what part do you like more? Do you like the comedy part more? Do you like the sports part more? I know which part I like more. Is the feeling of releasing the episode and then sleeping for 15 straight hours on Tuesday after I release it. Being like, fuck, I got another one done. This thing is a workload. What I'm going to hopefully this new job I get, going to make a little more money. And first thing I'm doing is hiring somebody to edit videos. Oh my God, can you imagine? Edit the audio, edit the video. I just talk into this mic for an hour and then be like, hey, guess what, motherfucker? You fix it. You fix the fact that when I talk, I move my mouth around so the voice, that sound comes in and out. Huh? You feel that? Huh? That's kind of what I do. And usually I got to fix it. I'm not fixing it anymore. I'm going to hire somebody. I got a little list of things I would hire people to do. You know, I'd hire somebody to edit the podcast. I'd hire someone to feed me grapes. That's down the list. But I do eventually want someone to feed me grapes and have that be their only position. Grape man or woman. Although I did say man first, so maybe I'm learning something about myself right now. I want it to be a man. 35 years old. Never too old to learn you're gay, apparently, which is what's happening right now. I want a grape man. Great. So yeah, new job. Excited about that. Excited to have a season finale. Like the idea of, I think I was kind of toying with it last week. Or 2 weeks ago on my episode, I was like, maybe I'll, quit. But then I was like, I'm not going to quit. I want to keep going. I think people are liking this. Enough people are liking it. But I definitely need that month. I need to, get some interviews stored up, do a little bit of banking interviews. I've heard that's a thing that professional podcasts do, unlike me, where I'm like, I need to interview you. The podcast is due in 5 hours. It's too stressful, okay? You get a couple in the can. And then you're like, okay, if I do take a week off, I still got the interview ready. I don't got to stress it as much. So I'm going to take this month to get ahead for season 2. Enough. You guys are like, how long is this motherfucker going to describe the process of making a podcast to us? Just do your podcast, Eric. It was an interesting week for sports. We learned that quitting is the bravest thing you can do while in competition, which is, I didn't know that. You got to. I always thought the bravest thing when those soldiers took Normandy was those guys that stood in the front and took a couple to the forehead. But apparently the braver thing was people cowering in the back that never got out of the bomb. Does everybody get what I'm referencing? Of course, I'm joking. Of course, that's not an exact way to say it. The whole Simone Biles thing was so rot. It's like everybody's like, just draw your battle lines. It's like you're either this or you're that. It's like there's no middle ground. Nobody listens to anybody else. Everybody pretends like they have the strongest, most like extreme position, and anything that's not exactly lined up with that is horseshit. It's like that's just not how the truth works. The truth is complicated. It's messy, Like, how often do I come on here and bitch about going to therapy? Okay, I'm not somebody that hates on mental health, but it's like we still do shit in sports that's not good. Like should people be allowed to write articles about athletes? That's not good for mental health, somebody criticizing you. Okay, we talk about it on the podcast a little bit with Brett, but booing, Booing seems like a thing that maybe we should make illegal at games, It's like there's got to be a way to respect mental health and also let it be fucking sports. Like, I can't remember where I heard this, but it was somebody was saying to me recently. Oh, it was my therapist actually. It's my therapy this week was just complaining about Simone Biles. Or trying to understand it, trying to get my head around it, and like not just have a here's my reaction day of. It's like you think about it. You're like, what is the other side saying that I can understand? My therapist said it. I thought it was smart. She goes like, it seems like society is valuing less and less what we've traditionally valued in sports. And I'm like, that is fucking true. That's true. And it's a weird thing because it's like I love sports. Obviously, that's what this podcast is about. And you got to find that middle ground where there's like a place where you don't have to call somebody a fucking piece of shit if they decide that like their mental health is taking too much of a toll on them or something. But also at the same time, like we don't need to like carve a statue for them for bowing out of the Olymp. Like it's like you can just like support somebody, but also be fucking real. Like words have to mean something. What is brave? Hang on. Let's just Google brave real quick. Hang on. Brave definition. All right. Brave. Ready to face and endure danger or pain, showing courage. All right, there we go. So what people are saying, like, she was brave for saying it was her mental health in the press conference. I guess that's true. I guess there's a part of that that's true. I don't think the act of quitting is brave, but you could say the act of, like, being honest about why you quit is brave. So it's a little bit of both. She also put a goat on her own, like, whatever, like, what is it called? Is it a leotard? I don't know. Whatever that thing is that the gymnasts wear. So when you do that, you kind of bring attention to yourself, you know? What's the definition of putting your foot in your mouth? Because it seems like that might be the best way to describe. Look, you gotta, like, you know, like when athletes are like, hey, you know, like, hey, Tom, how do you feel about your game today? Winning the Super Bowl again, Tom Brady. And he's like, well, you know, it's just a game, and a game is a game, and, you know, it's just us versus them, and sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Like, all that horse shit that athletes say. Like, you know, like, in their heart, they want to be like, I'm the fucking greatest, suck my dick. Like, they want to fucking go off in those interviews, but they don't. They always talk all boring. They just do those boring sports cliches, right? Straight out of Bull Durham. I'm just happy to be here. And it could be a backup quarterback or Tom Brady or a Hall of Famer. Doesn't matter. They all say the same shit. It's like, if somebody, you can't say you're the GOAT. You got to let other people say it. If you say it, people are like, all right, well, then you better be the GOAT physically and mentally. And when you're not, that fucking criticism comes. So that is part of it. I don't know. My buddy was at a baseball game tonight. He was at the Nats-Phillies game back in D.C., and he was like, send me some shit about the Phillies players so I can heckle him. And he's rich, so he's probably, like, sitting in the fucking dugout. So I was like, oh, I'll give him some good heckles. And I started, like, writing shit about the players on the Phillies that I knew. Even the Phillies are my team, but, like, I'm a heckler. I support heckling, and the Phillies suck this year, so I'm like, you know, go ahead and heckle them. You know, I'm all right with that. I know they're my boys, but take them to task. They're a game under 500. Fuck them. All right, that's what we would do in Philly. But then as I was, like, writing the insults, I think I said, like, Bryce Harper looks like a background actor in Sons of Anarchy or something. Like, whatever I was writing, I was like, you know, even just writing this, I'm like, this is bad for their mental health. What you should actually do if an opposing team comes into your stadium, you know, you're a fan of a team, you got a visiting team in there, you should tell them that, you know, they're human beings just like you and me, and give them a little massage when they come back from striking out. You should always respect the mental health of athletes as you're competing. No, it's called getting in their head. It's called saying, I'm going to fucking dominate you mentally. That's what it is. It's called a home field advantage. But it's detrimental to people's mental health. I mean, am I crazy? What is it to boo? What does that do to you? We're not supposed to boo anymore? Man, it's like we're changing sports for people who don't watch sports. It's just so fucking weird now, man. I don't fucking get it. I'm trying to evolve, but sometimes the evolution feels like de-evolution. All right, it feels like we're going we're just changing for the sake of changing. And like someone's like, this is a new idea. And everybody goes, yeah, I guess we think that. I guess this is... I was reading something that was like, the greatest thing Simone Biles ever did was quitting. I'm like, that can't be true. That can't be true. And I haven't even mentioned the fucking quarterback. The quarterback's Craig Whelihan, huh? You got any Whelihan fans on here? He's a ref now for high school football. Just read that article. And then I janked. Jank's not the right word I'm using for it. I was trying to say like jacked, but I went with janked, which is confusing. I jacked the email of the reporter. I was like, yo, get me this. You wrote an article about Craig Whelihan 5 years ago. What's his contact info? Let's get that. Try to get a little Craig Whelihan action in season 2, huh? He can listen to this podcast and tell me how it sucks. We're going to talk Craig Whelihan here in a little bit. And to get us in the mood for Craig Whelihan, huh? What better than an R&B song where it's Craig Whelihan trying to get laid. I thought that might be a nice little thing you guys would enjoy. All right.
Baby, I'm about to tell you about a real man. And his name is Craig Willahan. Not a lot of men treat the ladies right under the sheets, but my man Craig Willahan makes it look like a small feat. Standing on the sidelines wearing a Chargers hat, but the brothers crushing pussy on the San Jose SaberCats. Yeah. Trying to help Ryan leave so they don't show him the door. All while rocking a quarterback rating of 59.4, making his woman feel like she's queen. Dropping dimes to his fullback on a 1-yard screen, no gain, 4th down, Chargers lose. Ladies, you feel like you know the man? Girl, I see you lighting candles on your nightstand. Craig's got a game plan ready for you, 'cause whenever he scores, Craig Wheelahan's going for 2.
Oh, man, I think I might have a future in being a terrible singer. Look, let's talk Craig Whelihan. Let's talk one of the most hilarious things I found in my research for this podcast, which was I looked up Craig Whelihan on YouTube. Third video that comes up is an old XFL, because he was, let's get this right, his XFL team in 2002, he was on the Chicago Enforcers as a backup, primarily a backup, for, what's his name? It was Kevin McDougal, who was like a former, I want to say he was an Oregon quarterback. But anyway, like for some reason, like the little title on the YouTube video is like Craig Whelihan game, but he's like a backup. He throws like 2 passes in it. But it's the XFL, and so it starts, and it's Matt Vasgersian, who's like a baseball guy, is like the head announcer, and then he does like but I tell you what, this game's going to be good. Chicago's got a good ground game. They're going to have to do something about it, and that's where I bring in my co-host, and then the camera pans over, and it's fucking Jesse the Body Ventura doing like play-by-play. Was truly hilarious, because like if you guys know Jesse, oh yeah, it's me, brother, like just like the Hulk Hogan knockoff. And he's like, they always do like the thing where the announcers at the beginning of the game, they sit like shoulder to shoulder real close, but Jesse Ventura is like 8 times the size of Matt Vasgersian. It looks like he's doing play-by-play with like the giant from the green bean can. Like it looks insane. And also Jesse Ventura doesn't have like he's like me. Like I feel like he just talks loud and doesn't realize he's doing it, but he's like screaming into the mic. It's in a booth talking into a microphone. Some people just will, all the public training and like will never matter. Like they're just going to scream into microphones. It's the wrestling training. I feel like Hillary Clinton used to do that too, where she would just be like yelling into the mic, and you're like, it's a mic. You can talk like this, and people hear you in the mic. But I'm telling you, it's like a wrestler's thing, a wrestler/bad politician thing, where they don't use the mic right. So it's hilarious. And then it pans over to like, I guess their like field guy who's like in the booth. I guess XFL, they do it different. And I'm looking at the field guy talking. Like I wrote his name down. Hang on, let's get it. Mike Adamili? Who cares what his name is? I'm looking at him. I'm like, I know that guy. Where do I know him from? And then it clicked. He was the fucking guy from American Gladiators. Dude, the XFL rocked. It needs to come back. I would just love that. I would want to watch. I would watch a game right now if they were still doing that, and they still had like a wrestler doing the play-by-play. The first guy's got to be normal. It's got to be like Chris Collinsworth, and he's talking about the San Antonio Alamo Men, whatever stupid name they have for XFL teams. And then he's like, all right, I'll tell you what, I'm bringing my co-host. Here's Sting, and he's like, oh yeah, like that's what you want. I know I did the fucking Macho Man there instead. Oh, yeah. But Sting is funny if he's in his face paint. Yeah, and then like they'll be like, all right, and then for our play-by-play, we're going to the guy that used to host Legends of the Hidden Temple, some other show Eric watched when he was 8. Our play-by-play announcer is Olmec, the stone-talking temple man. It was great. Anyway, I ended up watching like 30 minutes of an XFL game, and now it's 9:30 the night before the podcast is due. I'm going to be up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and the XFL is to blame, all right? I love it. Whoever's posting these full XFL videos, keep it going. They are great to watch. You always see like a kicker, and you're like, I think that guy kicked extra points for the Dolphins in 2008. But there he is. There's Olindo Mari's got to get paid somehow, and that's what they do in the XFL. Bring back football leagues. Bring them back. I know Doug Flutie's got one coming now. He's bringing back the USFL. Is that right? United States Football League? Yeah. More. Craig Whelihan. All right, let's get to it. Craig Whelihan, good man. Listen to this roster of teams. Drafted by the Chargers in 95. Stays through 98. He's terrible. He's 2-12 as a starter. 14 touchdowns, 29 picks, under 50% completion. He's pretty bad. Then he's on the Raiders for preseason in 2000, but then listen to his lineup after this. The Memphis Maniacs, which I think that's got to be one of the XFL teams. Then he goes to the Chicago Enforcers. Then it's the Orlando Predators. I think now we're getting into the Arena Football League. Yeah, he's there for 2 years. Then he's the Indiana Firebirds, back to the Orlando Predators, the Las Vegas Gladiators. Then in 2007, at this point he's 37 years old. He's the backup for the San Jose SaberCats. I love that. And then they win the title, the Arena Football League title. Good for them. They win the Arena Bowl. So he's like, this is a dude that was like, I will play until the last person stops calling. That's, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 teams. And you know how cool that would be? To just get to do that for 14 years. You go to 9 different cities and get to, fucking hang out on a football field. Yeah, some of them are arena football fields. It's not a real... It doesn't mean anything, but it's still fun. It's still your life that you get to play football. I mean, I don't know. I love these journeyman quarterbacks who are dipping in and out of different leagues. That's when you're really like. It's too bad he didn't get like some CFL in here, because that would have. I think I've seen people do CFL, NFL. I've seen people do NFL, XFL. I've seen Arena Football League in there. I know there was an indoor football league for all, but I've never seen somebody work in CFL with that too. I think we actually talked about it with Jabron. It's too much of a adjustment to play in Canada because the game's too different. But whatever. Look, let's talk about one game that I actually did watch, and I loved it. This was so Ryan Leaf is imploding in 1998, right? First round pick, and he's just throwing picks and doing drugs, doing whatever he did to not have a good career. And, God bless Ryan Leaf. I guess he's getting he's gotten his life back together. I see him doing like spots on TV now, and he looks like healthy. So it's like, all right, good. Didn't die. Happy for him. Got his money. Let his demons play some football for the Chargers there for a little bit, and then, put it together in the end. Good for him. The race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. So way to go, Ryan. Way to turn her around. That's not an easy ship to move. But anyway, Ryan Leaf, being a fuck up, really does give Craig Willahan a little bit of fucking run there at the end of that shitty Chargers season, huh? Week 11 and week 12, he starts back-to-back games and goes 2-0. I'm talking a 14-13 victory in San Diego against the Ravens. Well, not bad. I mean, 2 years later, the Ravens win the Super Bowl. So that's basically like Craig Whelihan winning the Super Bowl. That counts as one of his come-from-behind victories because they they score a touchdown in the fourth quarter to win, 14-13. And the next week, it's Marty Ball. Chiefs come to town. And who do you think foils their plan? Who do you think steps up and tells Marty Schottenheimer to fucking bend over? It is Craig Whelihan. They won 38-37. He threw 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception. I'd say this is probably the highlight of his career. He throws a touchdown pass. Who did he hit? I wrote it down here. Charlie Jones for a touchdown with like 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter to go up, 38-37. You could kind of see, like you watch like the little replays of Craig Whelihan touchdowns. This dude gets into it. This dude is really like he's like a fiery guy. And yes, he was 0-10, 0-12 in his starts before those last 2 weeks, but like I said, just like it's how you end. That's a good way to leave your NFL career. So yeah, I think this dude deserves a lot. He went to a school called Pacific, which it doesn't even have football. I mean, it had football when he was there, but then it went away. And look, it says he ended his college career ranked 3rd on the school's list for completions with 300, and he only threw 27 touchdowns in college, and he's like an all-time leader. So Pacific Tigers football was obviously really bad. It's in Stockton, California. But yeah, he was... Look, man, it seems like he made the most of his talent. Dude loves football. And then I found out, doing a little research afterwards, now he's a ref, or at least he was 5 years ago. He's like reffing high school football games, giving back to the sport that gave him so much. I wonder if I can get Craig on the show. It depends if that writer fucking gets back to me. We'll see. And by the way, I wrote him the email and then linked to the show and was like, hey, I'm dropping the Craig Wheel. So if the writer listens to this, he's going to be like, fuck this guy. So I guess I'm not going to get Craig Whelihan. Here's what I was thinking, because I have like a LinkedIn page where it's like all my professional shit for my job. And I wonder if you can get a second LinkedIn page, which can be like my comedy LinkedIn page, because then I could connect with people there. Because I've noticed that a lot of people don't have, especially these quarterbacks, it's like they have LinkedIn pages because they're all like working in real estate or sales jobs and shit. But I don't want to reach out to them as like professional Erick. I don't even go by Erick at my job. That's how fucking much I keep it separate. I got a different name. Like, I'm like a fucking spy from the Americans. I'm not even me at my job. I don't even tell people I do comedy. So I wonder. That's what I got to find out, if I can do a second LinkedIn page where I can reach out and it's like, hey, jokey me, and not psycho salesman me. That's what I got to do. I got to find a way to make that happen. But, you know, this is all, again, I went right back into talking about how to make a podcast for the last year. All right. Are you guys ready to get into this interview? You should be, because having Brett on the show was awesome. Like I said, he's become a buddy. You will love his show, by the way. He's so much more professional than me in that he gets athletes all the time. He was a minor league pitcher for 7 years. So traveled the country, playing baseball, meeting people in sports. And so his podcast is, he gets like legit guests, and then he asks them questions, and then like make sure that the show stays on schedule. It's the exact opposite of what I do, which is plan nothing. And then as I'm in it, be like, oh fuck, I'm talking about the thing I said I wouldn't. God damn it. And then I can't get out of it. Like he has discipline. He's an athlete. That's what they do. He used to probably go to the gym at like 3:30 in the morning and work out and just achieve his dreams. That's not how I roll. All right. I'm a comic, which is just a nice way of being like pretty lazy a lot. But I think you guys are going to really like the conversation I had with him. He's got a perspective on sports. And we even do get into the Simone Biles stuff too. And you can see him I'm just like copying his thought. I'm like, everything he says is now my opinion. That's that's usually me. It's like, if you make a good argument, I now think what you think. That's one thing that I think people like about me from both sides is like, you can change my mind pretty quickly. I've done very little research. But anyway, like with that said, we're going to get to the interview. And then after that, it's going to be a little break. This is your season 1, Erick's first part of the podcast finale. Hang with the show. Don't leave. Stay subscribed. You're going to see episodes popping up beginning of September. And I might even do a couple little preview things later in August to just kind of get people ready and excited. Like I said, I've got a couple things in the works for the podcast that I do think you guys are really going to dig. And it's going to be great. Like I said, in it for the long haul here. So, maybe next time you hear the podcast won't be so echoey. Get a little bit of soundproof and foam up in here. So yeah, look, let's get into the interview. That's the third time I've said that. At Too Tall Sports on Twitter to follow Brett Lorin. Listen to his podcast, Too Tall Sports Podcast. As I was saying before, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you can find it. Thanks for hanging out for season 1. We'll see you after the interview in about a month.
On next, little baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out, now that's a big flex. Peeping out my Uber window, like what's next?
I didn't know are we on?
We're on. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I start recording.
Okay. And you can take whatever you want.
But there's no beginning to the podcast,
Got it.
It'll just come in at some point, Maron style.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you like Mark Maron? Do you know who Mark Maron is? You know who you're a podcaster, dude. How do you not know Mark Maron?
I know.
WTF?
I don't. I haven't.
Don't know
I
it.
I don't.
So,
I could try to sound cool and say, yeah, yo.
No, dude.
I just don't.
You made the right move. To me, that's like what you just did is an example of self. You have to be confident to do what you just did. To not pretend to know what
you can't know it all. About. Like, you just can't. So I'm like, can you explain who Mark Maron is then? Because I don't know who that is.
He's just a fucking comic with a podcast that talks about stamps a lot.
Okay. I'm not in the comic world,
It's what I like about. I think it's nice to talk to people outside of your circle in that way because you get so like the things in your life like matter so much to you. Like I could talk for 20 minutes about trying to get a show on TV and like what the process of going to producers and, fucking getting a deal signed and then like making a pilot and then network notes and all the stuff that goes into a TV show appearing. And then I'll talk to my dad who's like, why don't you just get on SNL? And I'm like, oh yeah, some people don't give a fuck about the thing that I worry about all day. I feel, to me, that's like a refreshing feeling.
There you go.
If there's there's probably like a sports doctor that fixes Tommy John surgery that I don't know.
Dr. James Andrews. There you go. He's like the guru. You know that name, right? There you go. So he's the guru.
But whoever the second guy is behind him, I've never heard of him.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Did you ever have? You never had the surgery?
I never had shoulder surgery, but I had a hip surgery actually. So I had so you have a labrum in your shoulder and in your hip. So I had a torn labrum in my hip socket, and they had to go and repair it, shave the bone down, all that stuff. So from pitching. So
they say you pitch with your legs.
You do, and you have just years of pushing off and that grind of like the bone in there. So it was unfortunate, but
I've never heard of a pitcher having a hip injury. But like, is that common?
It's a lot more common than you think. It used to be just diagnosed as like a groin strain. So like everyone's like, oh, you're fine, it'll go away, which it does for a little bit. But then you can feel it. There's something different in there. It's not just your typical groin strain. So once I got an MRI and got it checked, I was like, oh shit, I got a torn labrum. So.
Oh fuck! Did that take you out for a year?
About 6 months. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was a big surgery, which sucks because it kind of puts you. I'm sure we'll talk about baseball a little bit, but it puts you back in your career a little bit. You know what I mean? If you're hurt, other guys they're healthy and playing. So. Yeah,
they always say that you can't lose your spot to injury. I'm like,
you totally can.
Who the fuck says that? Yeah. It's like actually. Like a serious person.
Yeah. Unless you're you have a huge contract where obviously they're going to come back and be fine.
Tell that to Drew Bledsoe.
Right.
That dude had a big fucking contract.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, see, they did it right. Nah, I'm not going to talk about Nick Foles. It's too early in the podcast. I almost went into my fucking rant, but I won't do it.
Are we going to talk about Tebow today?
We can talk about I remember you getting really fucking worked up about that when I did your
saw
show.
you talked about him, or you talked a little bit about like the comparison to somebody else, Danny Warfel or something like that.
Dude, they are very similar.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Yeah.
We should talk to, I think my listeners, my wife shows up on every podcast, either walking in. You coming over here was I forgot how to be an adult today. I got off of work at 1:30. I'm just being real with the listeners.
I appreciate that.
And I came home, get home at like 2:20. Liz is like, hey, so what are you doing today? I was like, oh, I'm doing the podcast at 3. Brett's coming over. She's like, who the fuck is Brett? And I'm like, Brett Lorin. Like my wife knows a minor league pitcher that she's never spoken to.
We're boys.
And then she goes like, the house is a fucking mess. So we just spent like the last, like literally frantic cleaning. She's at work downstairs. I was like, put down your calls. Tell your boss to fuck off. You need to clean the apartment for Brett Lorin. So we fucking clean the whole house. And then it's like 2:40. She goes, you should get him coffee. And I'm like, I don't drink coffee. She's like, the polite thing to do is to get him coffee. So I was like, okay. And then I saw you were outside waiting for me. Yeah. I told you to wait in your car. Yes. I drove to Starbucks. And this is probably the first coffee I've gotten for myself. I can't ever remember getting coffee. I literally asked the lady, I was like, what do you drink? And she was like, iced coffee. And then you see she gave me hazelnut and vanilla. So this is going to fucking jack me up 30 minutes into the podcast.
Well, I know we'll get back to your story in a second.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, before your shows, you don't need coffee or you don't need anything?
I just do Coke. Fucking line them up, baby. No, man, I just natural
energy.
The energy.
Okay. All right.
Extroverted person, being around people. No, coffee fucks me up.
Yeah.
I was like one of those, I'm not like a Christian Science dude with medicine or anything, but I'm definitely somebody, when I have a headache, I lay on the bed with a pillow over my head and go to sleep until it passes. Okay. I don't know. I just feel like that's like the way to commune with our cavemen ancestors.
For sure. Yeah, I got you.
If you have a headache, you take medicine?
I mean, I don't know. Advil maybe? Aleve? I don't know.
But you never have a thought of like the strong thing to do here is to let it pass. Do you ever have that thought?
Normally I do, yes. Unless it's I don't get that many, I don't get migraines. I don't get any of that stuff.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not like one of those. Unless you get like the sinus one right above your eye. Those ones are terrible. I don't know if you've ever gotten those before.
I've never gotten that. I don't think I get migraines.
It sucks. Yeah. But anyway, I don't get them that often.
You know what I'm finding out here is that if I live in a desert and that if I don't drink water, at 2 o'clock things start to hurt.
You got to hydrate out here.
Dude, yes. I watched, there's a episode of Entourage that they have to go to the valley for something and the drama characters drinking waters nonstop.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, that's so fucking dumb. And now I'm like, no, I'm a 35-year-old man in a desert. I carry around water with me now.
You got to.
Yeah, well, you just don't society takes away the fact, you almost forget that you live in a desert and that this is a valley in a desert where it's 10 to 15 degrees hotter than the other desert on the other side of the mountain range. So it's you just don't think about it until you're dying.
Right.
In the car, you're like, why do I feel so shitty? And I feel like I'm going to swerve the car into oncoming traffic.
It's hot.
Because I didn't have fucking water today.
See, I brought water with me. You got to be prepared, man.
Well, you're an LA guy. You're
that's
familiar.
True. I'm used to this, yeah.
See, as a East Coast guy, what I always bring with me is a willingness to fight a homeless person. So that's what we have. We don't need the water as much.
We don't have the humidity, though, that you guys have back east.
Oh, yeah, that's
which
true.
Is much. I'd rather have a dry heat. I don't know about you versus humidity. The minute you walk outside, you're drenched, right? In some of those cities.
Yeah.
The South is a lot worse, but you guys in Philly get it, too.
Yeah, man. No, there's no question. I was listening to you on our mutual friend, Gus Farad.
Yes.
Good buddies.
Yeah.
Me and Gus go way back.
He's a Pittsburgh guy. You're a Philly guy.
Well,
so.
I'm not you're not.
I know you're not. I know, but you're by default a Philly guy.
By default, that's actually I'm going to steal that from
Steal
now
it.
on.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say. Actually, I don't know what the fuck I was going to say. I was talking about Gus Farad.
Yeah.
Philly.
Backup quarterback, who's also a podcaster.
He is.
You
were
listening to it. You said.
Yeah, I was listening to it, but that wasn't what I was going with. I can't fucking remember. I feel like I had a really good point to make that was going to just blow your mind. You're going to be like, this is the best podcast I've ever been on.
That was my fault. I blew
this
it.
connection Eric was about to make.
While you're thinking about it, I should
Yeah.
remind your listeners at Two Tall Sports Podcast. They can follow me.
That is how you fucking do it. Dude, you
Pro.
are so professional on your podcast.
Thank you.
Like every time I listen, like you got like the music. Did somebody make that music for you?
Yes, I have. I have to full disclosure. One of my buddies is really good at like the tech and audio side, and he does my editing and all that stuff. So I just get to focus on booking my guests, writing my scripts for my episodes. The professional part for me is like the structure of it.
Yeah,
I love your style because also winging it is also fun too. You know what I mean? Like not so, but you know what I mean? Like
I do know what you
there's
mean.
a freedom of that.
Yeah.
Mine is much more structured. If the guest says something I like, I'll follow up and like, all right, or do we need to move on? You know what I mean? So I'm always watching the clock of like, all right, how long are we taking on these? But I do try to be professional, even though I have no broadcasting background, any of that stuff. But I'd like to see a future in this some way. So I'm just trying to network with as many people as I can and see where it goes.
Well, dude, when I watch, just looking at like the names you get on your podcast, it's like I'm seeing you get like bigger and bigger people. It's like
Getting
it's
better.
fucking That's the thing. It's like how do you build the whatever it is, the cachet to get the people you want on? It's like you just have to. We were talking about people quitting.
Yes.
Which is always hilarious to me. It's like one of my favorite things is I think the average podcast goes 7 episodes.
They say that's like the threshold. If you get past that, you got a chance to like, you're really committed now. You know what I mean? But a lot of them don't get there. Whether it's because you got a co-host and you're not on the same page, or you're just really not that into it and you can't commit to the schedule. And you and I, we talked about this pre-show, like during the pandemic, pushing through, we're seeing a lot of people fall off just because it's not in them. They don't have that, whether it's mental toughness or whether they're really committed and they were just kind of doing it on the side. Like, so, yeah.
The idea of putting it out and like sticking to the schedule, that's the hardest part is that. It's not, even if you are doing a podcast on a topic you fucking love.
Yeah.
At some point you're going to go, oh my God, there's another episode due out in 3 days. God damn it. The pushing through that is the work. Because once you, I think, established in like your listener's mind, like this is going to be here every Tuesday, every other Tuesday, whatever your schedule is.
It becomes a routine.
It becomes a routine and it becomes one for them too. I think about, because I've had episodes where I'm like, man, nobody fucking listened to this one. And then the next one, it goes up and I'm like, why aren't they listening to all of them? But then I think of my favorite podcast, Mark Maron, the one you and I share.
I love it. Love that show.
And I don't listen to all of them. I listen to like one every 10. Like I don't wait for it to download. It's on my phone. And when the mood strikes me, oh, I like that guest. And I fucking dip in, dip out. That's how people.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with interview shows is that if people don't recognize the name right away, they may not listen.
Yes,
so
for sure.
They will phase out and not, it's like, I can skip that one. I will say what I started doing is that I like to give some opening thoughts now. So I started with more of a monologue, first 5 minutes of my thoughts in the beginning. So at least people, if you don't know the interview, you can come for that. You know what I mean? Like you can come to listen to me for my opinions, because otherwise, why would someone come listen to me, right? Unless you don't know me, like I didn't play in the big leagues. I played in the minors, but like I'm not a big name at all. But now it's like, outside of the interview, why would someone come listen to me? So I need to start giving my thoughts because I feel like I have credibility, at least in baseball, to talk about those topics.
Yeah.
And basketball, I'm a huge basketball guy too. So it's like, give them a reason to come listen, basically.
And we're going to get to that as soon as I let my dog into the room. I can hear him.
Please
he needs to get into the sun. Hang on for 2 seconds.
Do.
Yeah, he likes to fucking chill right there.
Okay.
That's my guess. Gordon, come in.
Checking him out. There you go. He's not used to people around.
Yeah, he gets very excited to meet new people.
You're good.
Gordon, where are you going, buddy? So we just moved into this place.
Yeah.
As you can tell, there's nothing. Also, you're the first person to do the podcast in the new.
Oh, really?
We moved here a month ago.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But also, like the no decorations on the wall. I'm a little self-conscious that you think I'm murdering people in here. It's very.
I don't care, man. Honestly, I'm happy. Like we could have done this on Zoom, but I'm happy that we're doing it in person. It's so much better in person.
I'm trying to stick to that too because I've had people. I've invited some LA people to come do the show recently, and they're like, Zoom. I'm like, motherfucker, we live in the same city.
Right.
Like, let's get over this. We can't be together thing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I haven't done any of my interviews in person, so I'm glad that we get to.
Are you gonna start doing that?
It depends, because some of the people just don't even live in the area, so I'm kind of reaching for people all over the place.
Yeah.
If they're in Orange County, then yeah, probably, or even LA. Like it took me an hour and a half with traffic. Just kind of expected that to get here. I could totally do that, but just kind of depends.
We'll see, man. Yeah. I would love to get it. Eventually, I'm like, maybe make this a fucking YouTube show. Do like I got the wall here. Yeah. I could do I don't know. Who cares? It's like it'll be what it's gonna be. Like I think this might be the season finale episode with you.
Really?
It's possible. Or you're somewhere in the second season.
Okay.
Now the audience knows my trick. I bank interviews. All right. I'm gonna probably.
You have to. Little known secret. You have to. Yeah. You have to have some heat. I guess some ammo. For future.
Exactly. For the audience. We're recording this in 2017. I'm not married to Liz yet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, we're booking. What are we doing this? It's January. It's July.
July.
What's
July
today? 30th.
Yeah.
All right. Now, but I'm going to cut that out. Obviously, I can't let the audience know that.
I think it's well, yeah. Go ahead.
If I air this in fucking December of next year.
No. Usually, I don't know about you. Like, I have at least 2 or 3 in the vault, which is like 2 or 3 weeks out. Yeah. So it's okay. If I record in June and I release in July, it's not that. Unless something crazy happened in between then, I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, do whatever you got to do.
Talk to me about Jimmy John's.
What do you want to know?
Are you still doing it?
No.
Okay,
I did it for 3 years. I was an owner-operator out here, so I'll give the backstory, I guess.
Give the backstory,
okay,
for
so
sure.
I played in the minor leagues for 7 years, and a lot of my teams I played for were either in the Midwest or the South. And so there were a lot of, it's kind of a more popular brand in those parts of the country, and the coolest thing ever was they were kind of the only game in town that would deliver sandwiches if they were within 5 minutes to the clubhouse, where it's like, oh, I can get a sandwich like that? No one else was doing it then. And this was like, 10 years ago. Now, everybody does delivery in some capacity. So they're no longer the only game in town. So
but you were like, I'm going to build on a business that's perfect for minor league baseball players and try to expand that out to
correct.
LA. Okay,
exactly. Cool. And it just didn't make sense. The way I think of it as and if you go to Chicago, because it's based in Illinois, that's where the headquarters are. Yeah. Champaign, Illinois, about 2 hours south of Chicago.
All right.
Where University of Illinois is.
I was about to say,
You got it, man. So it's huge there. It's like they're in and out almost, or it's one of those type of places. Okay. When you try to bring a brand like that to California with no brand awareness at all, you're not only fighting against Jersey Mike's, Subway, Firehouse, whoever the sandwich places are, you are fighting against all of California lunchtime. Like, good luck with that. It's really tough. And with the delivery restrictions being 5 minutes or less, it's hard. Like, California traffic is not Champaign, Illinois traffic. Good luck getting to somebody's house in 5 minutes, at lunch rush hour.
Yeah.
It was the toughest thing I've ever done. It was a great experience. Did it for 3 years. My cousin and I did it. You got 18 to 22-year-old kids running the show. Like, it's a tough gig, and you got to be there every day.
Dude, anything in the restaurant business. I mean, I was working exclusively in restaurants all the way through college. I don't think everybody should, own a Jimmy John's, but everybody should work in a restaurant at some point.
Totally agree.
It breaks you down as a person in a good way. To be like, I will never treat waitstaff terribly. I will never not tip somebody. Like, all that stuff comes from seeing how fucking hard everybody works.
For sure.
In those types of, in that industry.
You basically need to get shit on so you can learn this is what customer service really is on the other side.
Yeah. And then when you get to a certain age, quit and never go back. Because when somebody's like a 40-year-old waiter, I'm like, come on, bro, you got to fucking... Yeah. I remember there was a dude at the Melting Pot where I worked. Do you know the Melting Pot?
Yeah.
It's like fondue and shit.
Yeah, it takes forever.
And it was this guy, and he was like a really good melting pot waiter. And I was like, that's one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life.
The best melting pot waiter?
Go fucking do something else, bro. Jesus Christ. There's like teenagers working here.
Right.
But yeah, he really was into being good at the melting pot.
I feel like, don't you think that, I'm sure in LA there's a lot of this, is the older bartenders, right? But if it's like fine dining, you can get away with it because you can make a ton on tips probably.
Bartending, I feel like you can age into bartending. Yes. But I feel like that's where you got to go.
Right.
The actually going to the tables.
Being the server.
That's for fucking, I think
20-year-old.
25 tops.
Yeah.
And then it's like, be the manager.
Right.
What you did.
Right. Yeah.
Gordon, what are you doing, dude? He asked to come in, now he's won. Oh my God. Hang on. This is really good podcast, by the way. This is all staying in.
Is it? Okay.
Gordon, you want to leave now?
Now he's going to think about it.
He's going to think about it.
And then come back. Yeah.
As soon as you close the door, I'm
Right.
actually talking to the mic. Now, the listeners know Gordon. As soon as this motherfucker comes in the room and you close the door behind him, he wants to leave.
Right.
Then he leaves, you close the door, he wants to come back, and he's just a fucking... This dog has the worst FOMO I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Every podcast, it's like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I do think restaurant...
It's important when you're younger to have some exposure to it. Or some type of customer service, you know? Whether it's hotel or, you know, valet, like something like that, you know?
Did you do anything like that when you were...
No, because I was playing baseball.
That's why
I got away
you
with
fucking
it.
did it when you're in your 20s.
I got shit on with the failure and adversity of baseball. That was enough. Yeah.
I did... What was the first job I had? I was at the Rainforest Cafe when I was 17.
Used to be really cool when you're a kid, man.
Oh,
when that rainforest thing would happen, loved it.
So I used to... Yeah, it's the worst place to work, obviously. Like, you can imagine. And because I was so young, they would put me on, you know, young waiter or whatever. I was new. They would put me on kids' night every fucking Wednesday.
Brutal.
This is at the Rainforest Cafe in D.C.
Okay.
And the kids ate for 99 cents. So these moms would come in. They'd order a fucking Cobb salad. They'd bring 12 kids on a birthday party. The entire bill was $18. They'd stay for 3 hours. They'd scream to see the dory fish. And then you would literally I'd walk out with $20 in my pocket after waiting on like tables and tables of kids' birthday parties. It was
brutal.
Miserable.
That sucks.
The only thing that was fun about it was the controls for the rainforest are in the back, like the volume on everything. So if a table was hanging out too long, you could go in the back and just turn up the gorillas or the elephants or whatever section of the restaurant they were in.
No way.
So I used to go back if a table was hanging out, I would just turn the gorillas up to like a 10 and then wait 5 minutes and there'd just be a gorilla screaming like, the mom's like, check please. You're like, oh, okay, sorry. Get the check, turn it down.
That is, dude, I'm glad you told me that because I never knew that.
Yeah, you can turn up the music and you can turn up the sound effects in the back. You're not supposed to, obviously.
Okay, this is a serious question. Is it on automatic timer that the rainforest like does its thing?
The rainstorms?
Yes.
Yeah, they're every 40. It was like every 40 minutes or something.
Okay.
It was based on some fact that I used to remember where you were like, in the real rainforest, there's actually a tropical storm every 35 minutes. And so they timed all that stuff.
It's because you got to get at least one while you're there. If you get, you get two. You know,
or if it's a kid's birthday party, you get 17. You stay all night.
It's like, again? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there it is. Dude, it was, that was a crazy first job. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because I've found out since that rainforest, I mean, they closed down.
I think they're done, yeah.
Well, the reason they closed down is because they kept putting them in malls.
Right.
And every other store in the mall would be like, get the fucking rainforest out of here. Because it's always like the Rainforest Cafe and then a Zales.
Right.
And it's like somebody being like, this is the ring for my wife. I think, it's the worst thing to have in a busy mall. Also because when people go into the rainforest, by the time they walk out, parents, couples, you're fucking exhausted. It's a rainforest. There's death around you. Like you could die.
Right.
People are like not going to shop other places after they go there.
They're worn out.
So they would get bought out of their leases all the time. And so I remember I came home. It was after my freshman year of college, and I had a job at the Rainforest Cafe. They said, "Yeah, come back. We'll have you in on come in on Monday. We'll get you a shift." This is on like a Friday. The weekend happens. I come in on a Monday. There's gates up at the Rainforest Cafe, and they're ripping the parrots and shit out of the wall. It had gone under in the 48 hours since I talked to the manager.
Oh, wow.
Because they got bought out of their contract because everybody else in the mall hated them.
Really?
And then my manager there was like, I can get you a job. There's a Rainforest Cafe down where I went to school in Newport News. So you'll be fine, man. When you go back to school, they'll set you up there. Just get another job for the summer. He put in, I remember like new restaurants that opened in the mall, and he helped all of us get jobs there for the summer. And so I was going to go back to the rainforest in the fall for school. I went down there. They fucking closed down too. They ripped their shit out. It was like people hate the Rainforest Cafe, except for little children.
Damn, I had no idea.
The only people that like it are the kids in the store. The parents hate it. The servers hate it. The chefs hate it. All the other businesses around the Rainforest Cafe hates it. It's like the most hated restaurant in American history.
There's a small part of my childhood that is hurting right now.
I know, it's dying.
Damn.
I know, the macaroni and cheese comes in a little plastic thing that you squeeze out like fucking toothpaste. It's not good food. It's a rough
It was for
spot.
the entertainment, though.
I
It was
know.
the experience,
Brett,
right?
I'm really sorry, man.
No,
I know this hurts.
I don't care. Damn. I'm glad you told me about the funniest shit ever with the volume. You could just turn the gorillas up. It's amazing.
It's like any people that work in restaurants, oftentimes they're young, they're dirt bags. It was a lot of dirt bags
Sure.
working there. I don't know.
It's a first or second job. It's not
First or second
right.
job.
It's not a career.
Yeah, and the people that were there that were older, similar to the melting pot waiter extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Anybody that was there older, it was just like, what? Who hurt you?
Right.
Who hurt you, man? There's other things to do with your life
Yes, there
than
is.
pretend that you care about this dude's fucking steak getting to him on time.
Yes.
Like nobody really cares.
No, they don't. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's good to have a guest in the. What do you think about the room?
It's perfect. It's great.
It's pretty nice,
It's a good
right?
little studio room. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, we got this place a month ago. I want to say you are the second person to come into the house since we bought it. Do you ever get nervous when you're trying to fill out a room?
Yes. Well, are you saying you think you're going to be here long term?
At least 5 years.
Okay, so long enough. Yeah.
But I'm like stressing out about putting something on the wall because then I'm like, oh, then what if it doesn't look good? There's going to be holes in the wall.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, before I start, it's like I feel more calm in an empty white room.
Yeah.
But then part of me thinks it's creepy not having anything up on the wall.
Well, you could do the whole like sound thing where you put the mats up
That's
and all
what I
that,
was thinking.
like whatever those things are called, whatever.
And I feel like it's an easier way to decorate because I can just be like, yeah, I had to put the sound. That way I didn't have to make a choice on
I got to
what
put
posters
this foam
go.
on the wall,
Yeah, I
like,
just have
gotta,
to cover everything with foam.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be the responsible choice for a podcaster, I think. I could get away with that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Are you happy in LA for the rest of your good. No, it's honest. Are you happy? Do you think you're going to be in LA for the rest of your life now that you're...
I have to... I'm in Orange County.
Okay.
It's not really LA, right?
Is that technically not LA County?
It's not LA County.
Okay,
it's Orange County. So basically, I don't know what the separator is. Like, I don't know if you have a bunch of California listeners, or are they from all over the place?
They're from all over the place, but don't worry about that.
Yeah. So basically, like Long Beach and up, theoretically, is all LA County.
Okay.
Everything below Long Beach, all the way down to like San Clemente is all Orange County for the most part. So I like Orange County because it's more spaced out. Like, I grew up there. I always thought, even during my career, I would always come back there because I've seen a lot of the country from my travels. So have you.
Yeah.
There's no better place really than here. Like LA is just, there's a lot of traffic. Like, if I get into the maybe entertainment type of stuff, or I've been wanting to maybe do voiceovers or stuff like that. Like, if I get into that, maybe LA just could by default. But Orange County is the best, man. It's like you get everything.
Yeah. No,
every time craziness.
Every time I go down there, I like it a lot, and I felt the same way when I was in New York. Anytime I would go to any type of like close to New York place, like Jersey City or something,
like a suburb.
Yeah, even Hoboken, which is right across the river. You're like, oh man, everybody's just a little
more chill.
And then eventually, if it's too close, it just becomes an extension of the city at some point. But I don't think that'll happen to Orange County because it's too spread out, you were saying.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, the only places I would maybe consider is like Scottsdale, Arizona. I mean, I don't really want to live in Florida, but there's some decent parts of Florida, but there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in Florida.
You're such a baseball guy, dude.
Right,
you're like Arizona or Florida.
That's where the spring trainings are. Well, I've played in. I don't even know if you've been to some of these towns, like Clinton, Iowa. You ever been there?
No.
Or in that Illinois, Indiana, or Iowa border, Peoria.
I don't think I've ever been in Illinois. No, have I? No, I've been to Chicago.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, but I've never been to any like
Michigan or West Virginia.
I know West Virginia well.
Okay.
My brother.
So I was in Charleston. There. That's one of the places I've been.
Yeah.
It's a wacky place. It's definitely different there.
Yeah, it's a diplomatic way to put it. Fucking psychos in the mountains with homemade wine.
I'm telling you,
I remember we went to this is so nerdy, but when I was in college, I went to a leadership getaway before I went to like my freshman year. I was in a leadership program, and it was somewhere in West Virginia. We had to go and go rafting and stuff, and we were driving in this bus, and we were going down the side of a hill, and it was so steep that where you have to go in the Z pattern for whatever irrigation and stuff. And it's backwoods, West Virginia. the bus breaks down or something, and so we're just stranded in the bus for like 3 hours in this West Virginia hill town. It sounds like it's out of a movie. There's a dude in a rocking chair with a gun on his porch, just rocking back and forth, staring at the bus 20 yards away from us for the whole 3 hours, just waiting. And you're like, what the fuck? Where the fuck are we? This is like straight out of Deliverance. Like, it was like one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
Did he say, like, we don't like your kind around here?
No. I didn't speak to him. I didn't, like, go up and, like, hey, man, tell me how you feel about us. We were in the bus, so we just saw him. Like, he was right there.
Yeah.
Like, we were outside of his house.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it was fucking crazy there, weird. Man. And, like, I don't know, my brother went to school there, so there's a couple times I went up and just
At
drank.
University of West Virginia?
No, he went to a school called Shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Have you been? I played also in Mobile, Alabama. Have you been down there?
I have been. Yeah.
Okay. Here's a quick story for you. So when we were playing in, I think it was Montgomery or Birmingham, one of those places. Like, we just don't get this kind of stuff out here. Like, when we were there, we would show up to the field and they had a prison like close by, and so the work release type of prisoners would be like doing the groundskeeping with the groundskeepers there as part of their stuff. And then we would show up and these guys are like in their orange suits doing grounds crew work. And I'm like, this is something I've never seen before. Holy shit. So that was weird.
Was the prison close enough to like watch the games or no?
I don't think so, but I think they were driven there as like community service or whatever they do. But I was like, damn, there's like inmates on the field right now, like doing grounds crew work. Like you don't see that kind of stuff out here. So I was a sheltered California kid.
That gives me an idea. I always have a fantasy in my head of one day I'm going to have like $5 million. I don't even know if that's enough to buy a minor league baseball team.
Maybe.
But I'm like, I'm going to buy a minor league baseball team and have like the coolest fucking stadium. Because every time I go to a minor league game, I'm like, there's like a Ferris wheel or a fucking carousel. Like
Brooklyn has that, I think, right? The Cyclones.
Well, the Cyclones have like, they've got, what do you call it? Coney Island right there.
Yeah.
So, but even like the Staten Island Yankees have shit. Like my family lives in Frederick, Maryland,
right.
Frederick Keys. We used to do stuff there.
And that's how you get your name too, right?
No, it's not. I've never told people how I got my name.
Oh,
on this
okay,
podcast.
sorry. But I don't know why. That stuck with me from last time. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Frederick?
Yeah.
It's all right. Let the people know. I got a goofy first name.
Well, no, but you said it on mine, so I felt like it was okay.
What did I say? Remind me what I said on yours.
Because your name is Erick.
Yes.
So I was like, why is it spelled like that? Or, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a story behind that. So
you tell the story. Let's see how well you remember my story. I'm curious. I'm testing you.
I believe it was your mother's maiden name that was Frederick?
So it's my grandfather.
Okay.
It's my dad's dad.
Okay.
Is Frederick Karl Hellwig the first.
Right.
And he's from Germany.
Right.
Is this story ringing a bell?
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, I guess we'll leave it there.
That's great.
Here's the thing. I have nothing to hide. My grandfather was in the German army in World War II. Did we
I
get
didn't
that
know
far?
I didn't think we got that far. It was kind of like a throwaway.
That's the part of the story that I don't say on the podcast, because if you just leave it at that, you go, my grandfather was in the German army for World War II. Anyway, Brett, let's talk more about Jimmy John's. People are like, what the fuck did Erick just confess to?
You don't have to keep this in if you don't want to.
The Jimmy John's part?
No, anyway.
No, but here's the thing. My grandfather got drafted when he was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And then got wounded at Normandy before, not at the beach. There was a battle before Normandy.
Okay.
Where I think the British soldiers flew in and bombed Germans.
Okay.
So he got captured, was in America as a prisoner of war when he was 17, 18 years old. Then made friends with his prison guard. Like, they taught him English and stuff.
Yeah.
The war ended, and then 2 years later, he immigrated to America. Oh. And so, like, that was how that side of my family got here.
I totally interrupted you. Sorry. So you're from Frederick, right? And that's why it made me think of it.
No. I was like, did I tell him the fucking German World War II part on the... No, because usually
But that's
people...
interesting. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And his story is about being like behind, like in the German army, being a prisoner of war during World War II, all the propaganda, because he got both of it. He got like all the fucking German shit when he was 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And then he got all the American propaganda while he was here. And then after the war was like, yeah, I'll go with America. I like that one better. And that was like, but it's fucking his stories are insane.
Wow.
I should have my dad on to talk about it.
There you go. Exactly. I just could book you another guest. There you go.
My own father?
Yeah.
It hadn't occurred to me until this moment to have my own father on the podcast.
There you go.
I actually had him on to do a little promo. This is like 5th episode, 6th episode.
Yes.
I had him on, and he was so uncomfortable on mic. He really hated it.
Yeah.
So
That's all right. Some people aren't meant for it.
I should have him back then.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit of revenge for my childhood.
Yes.
I'll be like, I'll show you, Dad.
Exactly.
2 hours.
We went deep on my podcast about that.
What
if
do
you
we-
remember?
I
Not
don't
too
remember.
deep, but like,
What did we do?
We talked about how you moved around a lot and like how that affected you and all that stuff, and like how it kind of. I asked if. Are we okay to talk about this?
You talk about whatever, man. Yeah. I just told people my grandfather was in the... Dude,
Okay.
You cannot top that level of...
I remember asking you, you were hilarious about it when I said, do you think the fact that you moved around a lot kind of shaped you as a comic? Because a lot of comedians have tough backgrounds, you know what I mean? And they kind of play off of that as part of their comedy. So that's why I asked, and you're jokingly, you're like, I need to go back to therapy. I need to go. It was hilarious.
Dude, I am remembering this now, and you were the first person to ever ask me that, because people are like, oh yeah, what, you got fucking crazy parents, blah, blah, blah. But you were like, no, I bet moving around probably affected your mindset.
Yeah, you talked about you didn't have a consistent friend group. You know, it's hard.
It's interesting, yeah. No, I do think it feels obvious to go like, this thing in my childhood, I think it still affects me to this day even. But like, that is what's going, all of us are just living out our childhood traumas, walking around the earth being like, talking to people like they're our parents. It's fucking crazy. I mean, what's your childhood trauma?
I can't say I really had anything crazy.
Oh my God.
Nothing really, man. I didn't really. So I got divorced a couple years ago. So that was like my first, like real life. I mean, obviously I've gone through adversity before, but like not like that. So that was probably also, I wouldn't be doing a podcast if I didn't get divorced either. So it was kind of like I definitely needed it to happen, but it definitely sucked in the moment. So
why do you say you wouldn't be doing a podcast if you didn't get divorced?
I think because a lot of people get caught up in this too. I'm sure people who are listening can relate. Like if you're in a relationship, you get stuck in we got to do the safe. You got to be the provider this way. You can't always go for it if someone else is depending on you, right? Or they might not believe in your dream possibly. Like can't really make money right away in podcasting, right? There's a lot of things that have to go right for you to become part of a network or part of, someone's lineup of shows. Yeah. To get sponsors and stuff like that. So if someone's depending on you to make a lot of money in something, it's hard to go after stuff sometimes for people. So I'm not saying everybody, but it happens. So I think now that I've had the freedom the last 2 years to really go for what I'm passionate about, I'm able to do this now. And I would not have done that if I would have stayed married. I would have stayed in the corporate job, stayed like,
Is that what if you want me asking, how old are you?
34.
Okay, so you're my age. I'm 35.
Yeah.
So is that the route you were going? I know you did the Jimmy John's thing.
Yeah, so I went into solar sales. I don't know if I told you about that.
No,
okay, so I was doing residential solar sales for one of the big solar companies. I'm still doing solar on the side right now, just as like my real, I guess I say on the side because my podcast, even though it doesn't make any money. But you know what? That feels like that, right?
What it is. The podcast is your podcast.
It feels like a job, right? You still got to do stuff, right? It's hard. You got to promote. You got to do social media. You got to do booking your guests, write your scripts. Like there's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I could have stayed doing that, and just been like the safe guy.
Well, you know what it is that's hard, because I have a day job too. I mean, I just gotta. It's funny, like both my sister and who the other person, my cousin who lives back home, just got new jobs, and it's a huge deal for them to have these new jobs. They're like, this job is gonna pay me more money, and they're excited for their life and how it fits with stuff. I got a new job. It took me a couple days to even call my mom to be like, oh yeah, by the way, I got a new job, full-time, whatever. But also my podcast, like to talk about the stuff I'm doing creatively, that's your
passion.
That's my passion. That's where all my energy goes. The fact that I just got like a job that pays like whatever it's going to pay a year should be a bigger deal to me, but like it's the fourth or fifth thing I mentioned to people in my life when they ask me what's going on.
I'm with you, man.
The fact that we bought a house and I didn't tell people about that.
Yeah.
I was more like, no, the YouTube page. No, I got an extra 10 subscribers this week. Big deal.
I got a show this weekend, actually.
I got a show this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a fucking bar telling jokes while a homeless dude jerks off. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
Also, I bought a house, but who cares about the house? Everybody buys a house at some point. It's the art. Like, this is the struggle of, what we spent the first 20 minutes talking about. Like, how do you really get a thing in front of people to see it? That's the thing that occupies my thoughts when I'm, walking through life, even doing my day job,
Not everybody gets to do what they love, and it's really hard. It's just hard to get paid to do what you love as well until you get to a certain point. So I think that's what people struggle with. The safety net is what's going to pay the bills, but you're really not happy doing it. Like, no one's happy to work for corporate America. They're just, it's just.
But what I do think is that people who don't have this as their creative outlet,
that's a perfect lane for them. Then
that lane is good for them, and I think they get more value out of seeing themselves grow in those roles. Like that's where they get a lot of their self-worth is like, I got a promotion. Yeah, I'm moving up in the company. Blah blah blah. It's like when I get promotions at work, which I've gotten, I'm always like, oh, fuck. I don't want to be here more. Like, this isn't good. Boss is like, oh, you're doing great work this week. I need to quit. I think I should quit. I want to go back to somewhere where they don't know me that well. Like, it's weird, but the better the day job goes, the more I'm like, I should fucking time to go. Because I don't want the day job to be the thing that goes well.
Yes.
I think I will say this, and this is because I literally got a new job 2 days ago, the one I was telling you about in your neck of the woods. But like the idea of the job is if I could make more money, it would all go straight into this.
Right.
I'm like, I know I'll hire, I don't know what blood oath you signed with this editor that's doing your shit for free and making your music.
Not doing it for free. Yeah.
This dude did something that he owes you. But whatever's, oh, sorry, you're right. You did pay him. My bad. I forgot.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have a list in my head of like, I'll pay somebody to do this. This person can manage the fucking Instagram page. How can I start once I have more money coming in, this stuff gets to grow at a way that I'd be more excited.
Yes.
And I wonder for the people that are just like living their lives, working a job, coming home, watching TV. Part of that feels so relaxing to me. And then another part is like, I feel like I would be clawing at the walls without whatever that artistic thing is to pursue.
Right. Some, we're just exactly. Some people don't have that artistic or creative thing that they're going after, right? Yeah. Working in their job is, some people like the being safe, and there's nothing against that. It's just like, this is all right. That's good enough for you. Go work, go home. And that's it. Like, there's no whatever. Like, you don't need a lot of stuff.
It's our job to give them some shit to
we're going to entertain them, right? So not everybody...
Dance, monkey. Dance!
I have to say, and you know this too, not everybody has that creative gene or that it factor where they can't, or the confidence to do what you do, especially doing stand-up is like, that's the ultimate look at me, like tough gig. But you love it.
Yeah. I got a buddy who has gone to Iraq like 4 times. He's like, I don't know how you do it, man. I'm like, bro, you fucking...
In war?
In war. Like, I tell jokes and sometimes people don't laugh. Like, it's not that bad. Holy shit. I don't know how you do what you do.
Right.
But I think it's whatever. It's to each their own. Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine... I mean, the pandemic really highlighted it for me of like, the fucking hole in me when I'm not performing at all is pretty big.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I became like a worse person. Like, I was becoming a person that couldn't watch a commercial without being like, fucking Geico, these fucking fat cats on the government's tit. Like, I just start like railing on, I'm becoming a conspiracy theorist in the last 4 months. I'm like, what is happening? If I don't have that outlet for the stage, I feel like I'm becoming like a version. I'm becoming my father if I don't get on stage and let some of this steam out,
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the podcast has been that, and sometimes I'll like, I've gone back and listened to a couple early episodes, like that would have been October of the pandemic, and I'm like, man, I was really like going through it. Like in the beginning of the podcast, I can like hear.
You can just tell.
I can hear the edge in my voice. I'm like, I'm not that angry normally, but I think I was just losing my mind. I think I was missing it too much. I was missing it a lot. Yeah,
for sure. It was a depressing time, you know.
It was, yeah.
Especially for someone like you need shows, you need or like performances per se, you know, like just your outlet or whatever. But I was gonna ask you how now that you're doing shows again. Yeah, you've done some shows, so how's it been?
It's going great. It's great, man. I don't feel like it took me a month of shows and even just going back and doing open mics to like get my legs under me. I felt it's not like riding a bike with stand up. It's like you don't get in front of an audience for 17 months. Your timing's off. You're like, how does this joke end? What the fuck was this joke I used to tell? Yeah, the
jokes aren't hitting the same.
You're like, you're just not, you know, you're not in the flow of it.
Right.
But I would say the audiences were never more ready to laugh.
Do you do a lot of like pandemic-based jokes?
No,
you stay away from that.
No, just because like I do it if I feel like the audience needs it. Yeah. But I just feel like everybody wants to do it, so I'm like, I don't know. I've got like one or two jokes to just be like acknowledge something sucks and then fucking
move on. Yeah.
I mean, in LA shows, all my jokes are just complaining about how fucking into their mask people are. People like love their mask. It's like, dude, don't make me sound like a fucking stars and bars crazy dude in West Virginia with my shotgun. But like, can we acknowledge wearing the mask sucks? Isn't the goal to get out of these masks?
Yes.
And it's like they're so like, I mean, I don't even know. Does Orange County have the same stuff that LA does?
It's not as strict.
Okay.
Orange County's got a little conservative in it. Like, there's a little streak of like, even though I think it went blue for the election, it's still a little bit like there's a lot of Karens down there. A lot. Like the let me speak to your manager type of chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of that. So,
I mean, look, I think what I've, as my politics have like centered, we'll say, in the last like year or so, I'm like, there's a part of me where I'm like, I see, like when you say there's a lot of Republicans in Orange County, I'm like, there's part of that I would like. I'll sign me up for the part where I don't have to wear a fucking mask when I'm vaccinated. LA County, I feel like, is the only place where they're making me feel like an anti-vaxxer, and I got the fucking vaccine. Right. And they're like, it's not enough. You have to make sure people in Kansas feel like shit about themselves. That's also important. I'm like, is it? Do I have to do that?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a balance, and that's kind of how I view politics now, where it's like, I'm happy there's another side because I know who I am looking at another person who disagrees. And like, if I'm really engaging with their views, it's forcing me to examine my own instead of just being like, they're fucking idiots, you know, whatever side you're on. These guys are woke pussies. These guys are Trump conspiracy people. It's like, if you just dismiss that and surround yourself with people who think shit you already think, you're not sharpening yourself.
Right.
Anyway, this is the part where we either talk about The Wire or Black Lives Matter. Your choice. Fork in the road.
I was going to say, a lot of the hardcore Republicans and conservatives in Orange County also moved to Arizona because that's more of a red type of...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That's like the new hot place to go is either Texas or Arizona.
Okay.
And so, but my thing is like, good. We got too many people in California, man.
Excellent.
Have fun at 120 degrees right now in Arizona. We'll see you.
I felt the same way, too. When people were moving out of California, I was like, you know what? I drive on the 101 a lot, and I don't like how many cars there are.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
I'm good with it.
But I love that I've listened to you on your own podcast and others defend California very valiantly, I have to say.
It's because, I have, like, at least I've been around the country. I've been to most states in the country just because of baseball. So I've seen a lot of places, and not just because it's my hometown, but you have everything available here.
Yeah.
Whether you want snow, mountains, you want the desert, you want the beach, you want whatever. You want Vegas, it's 4 whatever hours away.
Yeah.
Like, it's all here. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's naturally one of the most diverse, beautiful states you can be in.
Yeah.
You got beach, you got mountains, you got high desert. It's all within a day's drive.
Yeah.
It's wasted on woke pussies, but I'm kidding, audience. I'm down the middle.
Yeah.
Whatever, who cares? Let's get back into your divorce.
Okay.
Did you get married young?
I was 28 when I got married, so I was married for 3 years. Yeah.
Right.
No kids, so it's clean break.
Clean break.
Good.
Are you guys friends or
no? I moved on, man. I couldn't be. I couldn't do it.
It
doesn't do me any good.
I'm curious. Do you have friends that stay friends with exes?
No, I don't think so.
You don't really?
No.
Okay.
And I don't, because I feel if I did that, I would still be connected to her. Like, I don't want affiliation anymore.
No, I don't mean that. I'm saying, like, do you know people who stay friends with their exes? Because I feel like I know a lot of people.
Okay, that's interesting, because I don't see the point of doing that. Why would you want to be friends with somebody that you went through hell with? You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, why?
You're more of a walk away from a burning city and never look back type of guy.
Yes, especially with all the trauma or whatever's there, or all the feeling that's there. If I see you, all that's going to come back up. And I also don't want to know what you're up to anymore. Like, me personally, I don't want to know, because it doesn't do me any good, you know? So I try to clear it.
I think that's the right move.
What's the benefit of being friends with your ex?
Here's what it is, I think.
Yeah.
We're losing listeners left and right. Strong opinions, lose listeners. That's what I've learned. Yeah. I get emails like, fuck you. Like, one time
I wish I got emails, people saying that, dude. That's great. I want haters.
I got an email from being like, anybody who names their kids the same first letter, like Jack and John, is an idiot. I said that on a podcast. Okay. And I got like 10 emails being like, that's a lot of people, dude. You're just shitting on like half of the families in the country.
All their kids are named the same letter and all that stuff. I'm not really
seriously upset by it. I'm just having an opinion to be a comedian. But it pissed people off.
Hey, at least you're getting those, man. I would love to get some emails.
I'll send you a nasty email the next show.
I got a terrible review from this guy named Erick, man. Jeez.
No, I was going to say, oh, fuck. What were we talking about?
Sorry. Friends with your exes. What's the benefit?
This is what I think the benefit is. I think some people go, because we went through hell and we got through it, it makes me feel less alone to see the person I went through that with.
Okay.
It's like, if we're past the drama part, they don't view maybe their relationship as a failure. They see it as like a moment in their life. I can't be like that, though. I've maintained, like, because of social media, I guess I have to be like, oh, I see somebody I used to date. Okay, that's fine. I'm never mean. Right. I would not be shitty if I saw them in real life. But I've never gone out of my way to connect with somebody, because I'm like, why do I want to feel weird? Like, I'm going to make myself feel weird about a thing that was shitty that we already talked through. We already decided not to see each other anymore.
Right.
It's like, once you're cut from somebody's life, stay cut.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the only reason, back to your point, is if you have kids together, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yes, of course.
You have to kind of work that out. But like, I don't want to see who my ex is dating. Like, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, even though we're not together anymore, I don't need that stuff. You know, I'd rather not.
Would you worry about the jealousy in that moment, or would you it's just like, why trouble yourself? I don't know.
A part of me is like, good luck, you know? Have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just, there's nothing positive there. Because I feel like right when I got divorced, I would almost like wish just in the beginning, like wish she'd come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after a while, I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want that anymore. Like, it doesn't do me any good. It's not, we can't go back. You know, it's Pandora's box is open. Like, it's done.
Sure.
So
I think it's like social media has made us feel like we need to be connected to everything, and no path is ever burnt completely, and no relationship is ever done. And I'm like,
I just don't. What are you gaining out of that?
You should call my wife up, because she thinks it's good to be friends with exes. I don't get it.
If you want to, we can.
I think she might still be mad at me.
Oh, okay.
I told you why she's mad at me.
I'll make sure she's cool before I leave.
That's what I like to do when I have guests over to my house, is have them referee fights between me and my wife.
Oh yeah, for sure.
About a mistake that I made.
I'll have your back, dude.
I haven't had somebody over here for 2 years. No, nobody here. We bought a whole apartment. Not bought. We rented an apartment at the beginning of the pandemic, and then moved out of that apartment to come here. Whole year in an apartment, not a single person stepped foot in it. Yeah. It was just us.
Right. You guys aren't used to having people over.
Yeah, and not anymore. It's like, it's a whole new...
Right.
You have to like remember, light a candle. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Should we do the dishes? What about that chicken we left out? Would that be weird if somebody came home, there's just a ripped open chicken? Yeah, we should probably put the chicken away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten my life together in a lot of ways, but like shit like today where I'm like, why the fuck didn't I think to clean the house when a person was coming over? I'm like, I guess I still have a little bit of that like 20s mentality in me.
But also pandemic too. Like, you're not, it's like you're not really entertaining that much, or you haven't been.
Am I being too hard on myself? You think I'm being too hard on myself?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you really think that, or you're just being nice?
No, I'm with you. Like,
all right.
Plus, it's like a guy's coming over. It's not like a bunch of girls are coming over where it's like, all right, maybe we need to do the candle.
But do you think? I think there's still a thing where like if you came over and the house was a true fucking mess, like just disgusting, you'd be like, that dude's a fucking. That was weird. You wouldn't think that's a little weird?
I don't know. Maybe. But at the same time, it's like if I was coming over to like watch a game with you or something like that and there's shit all over the couch, I'd be like, I mean, I guess you could have moved this stuff off. You know what I mean? But I don't think.
You would? Okay, well, that's good.
I'm in your studio, so it doesn't really affect us. We're good. It's clean in here. It's great.
Well, it's clean in here because I cleaned it. If you open that closet door right there, like a fucking shit will tumble out. There'd be like dead body. Yeah. You'd be like, what a fucking mess.
Yeah.
No, I think I was surprised we were able to clean the house so quickly. You know, it's 1,200 square feet here.
Yeah.
Got it wrapped up pretty quick.
You did great.
Thanks, man.
This is great, yeah.
Well, look, we're at an hour. Usually these things go about 4 or 5 hours, so we're about 20% there.
I'm good to keep going, man.
Kidding.
We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. Like
what's the good stuff?
Okay, we got to do a lot of good stuff today, but we had no sports today. Like,
who gives a shit? Okay. I don't even remember. You said your team would have been the Rams, but you rooted for the 49ers because the Rams weren't here for most of the time you were.
Or the Chargers. And I wasn't really a Chargers San Diego guy because I was always Lakers, Dodgers, like those, even growing up in Orange County, like those are my teams. But we didn't have the Rams. So I kind of, the 90s, the Niners are great. So I was like, you know what, I'll just root for the Niners.
Easy enough. I think the quarterback for your episode will be Craig Whelihan.
Okay.
I'll give you $1 million if you can name a team he played on.
Real quick, how many teams did he play for? So I have a chance.
That's a good one. I want to say 3. I believe. Okay. I've done a little bit of research on him. I want to say 3. I should look it up. Actually, hang on.
I want to guess.
I've never tested somebody live on the show before for this, except for Liz as a joke because she wouldn't. She obviously.
Have you ever seen those videos? I know we're going off track here, but have you seen those social media videos where like a guy will ask his girlfriend what the name of the teams are, and she has no clue.
Yes,
and they say like funny things.
So me and my wife do that all the time. Where I'm like the Ball State, and she's like Ballers. Yeah, it's
like the Fire Dragons. Yeah, okay.
I actually have a couple listeners for this show who are women who don't like sports, who listen to it so they have something to say to their dads when they go home. Because it's like, if you just go home one day and you're like, you don't know anything about sports, but your dad's a Bills fan.
Do you think women do that?
I know one in particular of my listeners does that. She will intentionally just go like, do you think Alex Van Pelt ever got a real chance in the NFL? And her dad will be like, what the fuck? And then she'll just leave it at that.
That's it?
So like she'll take a little snippet of something I talked on the podcast and use it.
Yes.
I don't know. I think to me that's an easy way to sell the pod to people who aren't as into sports but like my comedy.
Sure.
Is like there's a value conversationally to knowing very random, very specific things about a specific team. But with that said, let me look up Craig Willahan because I want to see if you can get it.
I've never heard of him before, so that's a tough one.
Well, I'll give you some.
Like what years was he playing?
All right, well let's look it up here. He was in the league from '95 until 2007. Well, no, he played a lot of arena football.
Okay,
only 2 teams in the league.
Okay,
I'll give you a hint.
Okay,
it's the Chargers and the Raiders.
You already told me I didn't get the guess.
Okay, well, no,
AFC West.
Yeah, AFC. Yeah, he was on the Chargers and the Raiders. He threw. What do we got here? 14 touchdowns, 29 interceptions, quarterback rating of 52.4.
Oh, man. Where did he go to school, does it say?
Yeah, it does. He went to Pacific. What the fuck does that mean?
It's a university it's in Northern California.
University of the Pacific.
Oh, no. Yeah, I think so. I think it's up in Northern California.
Wow, he went to University of the Pacific. That sounds like fucking like something from Aquaman. Like that's... It doesn't even sound like a real place. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, Pacific. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in Northern California.
Stockton, California. Is that Northern
Stockton's
California?
like Bay Area-ish. It's,
Okay, yeah, it looks like it's Methodist.
Okay.
All right, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look like he was very good. I guess I just picked a West Coast guy. You know what it is? It's like I kind of pick the quarterbacks. I do this promo, or at least I was, for season 1, where I would like, Whelihan, what's a pun for a song on that? And so I did like Journey's Wheel in the Sky. It's like the Whelihan in the sky. I was like, okay, I'll do Craig Whelihan. That's how I choose.
Really?
It's the dumbest reason ever to choose a quarterback to talk about for 30 minutes. But
so like one of my favorite ones you did was Jimmy Clausen because he's a LA guy.
Oh yeah.
So were you looking at like the pickle aisle and you saw like the Clausen brand of pickles and you're like Jimmy Clausen?
It was two reasons. I had a guest on that week who was from North Carolina and he was Panthers, and it was almost Christmas and I was thinking, here comes Santa Clausen.
Here we go.
So that was enough. Like the pun and I try to do like there's a whatever. It's like a geographical connection to a guess.
Yeah.
And a pun.
Right.
And if I can come up with that, I'm usually pretty good.
It's legit, man. It's great.
Yeah. He spent a lot of time in the XFL, it looks like.
This guy, Whelihan.
Yeah. Do you remember, did you watch the XFL when it first came out?
I mean, we were young when it first happened. All I remember is He Hate Me. Rod whatever.
Smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Who ended up on the Eagles.
Eagles for a minute. Yeah, there you go.
And he had a decent NFL career. I remember thinking the XFL, it was going to be like somebody was about to score a touchdown, and then like fucking Kane was going to
like NFL Blitz almost.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought there was going to be a little more wrestling mixed into it, but it was just like arena football.
Yeah, The Rock's trying to bring it back, so we'll see.
I'm sure whatever he does,
it will work.
It'll work.
It's been tough because everything other than the NFL has kind of failed. They just run out of money.
But do you think it's failing because people aren't interested, or it's failing because there's vested interest in it failing? I feel like the NFL does not want to share that market with anybody.
Interesting.
So
but they're playing in the off season though. It's like it's like the G League for the NBA. So it's almost like a minor league system now. I think that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be so wacky like we thought, like WWE. I think it's going to be like a feeder system to the NFL.
But what I'm saying is the G League works with the NBA.
Yes.
The NFL, I think, has to take one of those leagues like the XFL or whatever it was.
The AAF.
Which I was watching the fucking
A couple
AAF.
guys got signed out of there to play in the NFL.
But I feel like the NFL's like, let them fail, we'll take the best players, and that's that. Like, I don't think they didn't even embrace NFL Europe, which I thought was fucking awesome.
Right.
I loved NFL Europe.
Okay.
All those like fucking weird ass.
The rugby guys that are playing football.
Yes, it was amazing. Dude, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I just think there was something so interesting about, I mean, to me, I'm like, I don't know why they didn't just commit to that and have that be their developmental league. But
I see.
I feel like the NFL doesn't want that.
Interesting.
I could be wrong, but I feel like they haven't really fully embraced the idea of a minor league system or any type of football to compete with them. I think they just want. And it's also, I was talking with, I had a quarterback on the show, Jabron Hamden, who was talking about how European football, so soccer, has like the, regulation, but not regulation. What's the fucking
relegation?
Term? Relegation, where you go down.
Like if you suck, you go to the worst league.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, why doesn't American sports have that? We're very capitalistic. Wouldn't that be?
They should, because it would prevent tanking and it would prevent teams from just being okay with being bad. Like,
yeah, the Bengals would be in the XFL,
right?
And the Memphis Maniacs with an X.
That's speaking of like it's off-brand cities too. Like San Antonio has an XFL team. I don't think they haven't built the fan base yet. That's why it's going to take a while, you know.
But I think what would happen if you did introduce something like that to where there's a real consequence to going 2-14. I feel like those other cities.
Interesting.
I feel like their fan bases would build a lot quicker when they're like in a championship game in the XFL, being like, if we win, we go to the NFL.
That's a great idea.
Like I actually, it's weird because we talked about it on previous podcasts, but it's the ultimate form of capitalism. It's like you fail, you go down, you win, you move up.
That would be awesome.
That is true meritocracy. But again, I feel like the idea with an NFL team now is like you buy a team, you're going to make money no matter fucking what happens. You can go 0-16 for 8 years. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You will make money if you own an NFL team.
Right. The revenue sharing or whatever, they just get all the TV money. Like you get paid to suck.
Why have a league like the XFL that's doing well and let people get their football fix in the offseason? Make them wait for our shit.
Right.
You know, so that's why I think all those leagues have failed. And if somebody's gonna fucking take it to the next level, it's got to be somebody like The Rock who will just tell people in promos, watch the XFL. Right. Watch the XFL. I'm The Rock. Remember the people's eyebrow? If he just does that shit enough, it'll be successful because people are... sheep, and they'll fucking watch it if he tells them to.
If the product's good, that's the biggest issue, is are there enough good players to play in the XFL?
I think to me, this is one thing I've learned from my podcast. Quarterbacks like 1 through 10 in the league are the superstars, and nobody's touching them.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks like 30 through 60 are interchangeable. And it's the system you're in and the breaks of your career that allow some of those guys to have 15-year careers and some of those guys to be out of the league in 4.
Right.
And like you know this with your career too. It's like you were saying, you got drafted by a team, traded. They haven't invested in me the same way the team that drafted me did, so you don't get the shot that you might have with your original draft team. I just think there's so many quarterbacks that are like that too. That's like, why isn't Jacoby Brissett starting somewhere? He's good enough to start. I think he's better than 5 or 6 guys starting now. He just hasn't hit that opportunity yet. Tyrod Taylor's great, but someone like fucking punctured his lung and all that.
You want to talk about getting hurt doesn't mean you're not going to get your job back?
Oh my God. Dude, he's like, it's happened to him multiple times now.
Yes.
I mean, that dude's snake bit more than anybody I can
so
remember.
It definitely happens.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not the guy.
But what I'm saying is like, I think it's a myth that there's not enough quarterbacks to have a successful league. I feel like it would be fine. I just feel like if dudes in the NFL were like, I'm not getting enough playing time, I'm going to go do a season in the XFL. I don't think anybody does that.
Right.
I think they're like, once I'm in, I'm never leaving. And that NFL's like fucking Heismaning away the XFL promotionally. So it stays a very separate thing.
It would be like a demotion if you go play in the XFL.
Versus like if it was really a supported thing, like why wouldn't you have your third string quarterback?
Yeah, if you're never going to
start somewhere.
Why not go start for one of these XFL teams? You know, get your reps in. You know,
and like how fucking fun would it be to watch the San Antonio Rough Riders, whoever, with a Z. It's always with an X or
it's always a weird name.
You can't spell it the right way. That's the rule.
Got to be different.
You played minor league baseball.
Oh my God! You should the Montgomery Biscuits.
There you go.
What the hell?
And the Biscuits again with a Z at the end.
Freaking! Oh man, there's some weird names, man. It's
there was the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Yes,
was one that I when I was in Akron, a couple of comics went to a game.
Yeah,
they had the big rubber ducky on their hat. I was like, are you fucking shopping at Oshkosh B'gosh? And they're like, no, dude, this is from the game. I don't know. I think let's minor league baseball.
We didn't get to go back to you wanting to build a stadium. Remember we were talking about that?
I was about to say.
Yes.
So I would build a prison. I wouldn't build a prison. I would try to get permission from the warden to make the prison like the right field stands.
Okay.
So you could have like a baseball field, and then like it's has something to protect the people, but then prisoners can watch the game and like stab each other and shit. And then that would be like part of the minor league baseball. You know what I'm saying?
So like in between innings, we're like, and these two inmates are going to go at it. That's your entertainment.
No, we don't need to do like gladiator shit. I'm saying like
instead of the dizzy bat race, let's let two inmates try to stab each other.
You know like at Camden Yards where they have like the
warehouse.
The warehouse.
Yeah.
Instead of the warehouse, it's just like a prison wall.
So, like, you give the inmates some entertainment, basically?
Honestly, like, that's the real thing I was thinking. It's like, you give a little bit back.
Or do you let them have a section in the stadium? Because no minor league teams sell out, not that many. Do you give them a section where the inmates can come watch the game?
I'd be cool with that, too.
And they're obviously heavily guarded.
Obviously heavily guarded. Look, I don't think prisons need to be as draconian as they are. Like, I think we're all human beings. People make mistakes. I believe in redemption. Fucking build a minor league baseball stadium next to a prison.
It's interesting.
It's not a real idea. Look, this is a bad idea. People would die. This is a bad idea. But I would want to build a stadium somewhere where you get to incorporate whatever is specific about that area. Like when we went to the Outer Banks, this is like back in December. I love going to
North Carolina.
Well, specifically beach towns in off season are one of the, I feel like the most relaxing place to be.
Okay.
And I was like, there should be a minor league baseball team here where the center field view is the ocean. I was like looking at spots because there's like
Pensacola, Florida has that.
Yeah. Which team?
Literally, it's I think it's the Reds AA.
Okay.
But it's Pensacola's I forget the name of what the Blue Wahoos or something like that.
Okay.
There's a funny name for you.
That's awesome.
It's on the water. So
amazing.
If you get a chance to go down there, Pensacola, Florida.
Dude, fuck yeah.
It's on the ocean, just like you're saying. But anyways, go ahead. You want to incorporate what brings the city.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would build like a minor league baseball stadium if it's West Virginia. Let's build it in a rock quarry. Let's do shit to like highlight where we are.
Yes.
Like, I think that to me is like, I remember I saw UTEP, University of Texas El Paso.
Uh-huh.
They're a terrible football team. They're like the worst team in college football. But they like part of their stadium is like a rock wall. It's because I guess their stadium, like there's like a mountain right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking cool, man. And like when they throw a touchdown, like you can kind of see the beginning of the rock wall, like where they would walk out. I'm like, to me, when you have like these smaller athletic venues, it's like you have an opportunity to be creative in a way that maybe even a professional team couldn't take a risk like that.
Right.
I feel like I have a future designing minor league baseball stadiums.
That's cool.
I mean, I have no background in
Sure,
any type of architect, but I just feel
You
like
have the idea.
I would just write stuff on a board and be like, do it! Make it happen! I want a prison
Right.
on the field.
Yes.
What would you do if you could? You spent a lot of time in minor league baseball stadiums. You mentioned the ocean one. What was the coolest one you've ever seen?
You know what's crazy is Dayton, Ohio, the Dayton Dragons, they sell out, or they did, every single game. And that is like a big league type of stadium. I loved playing there. That was in the Midwest League, like low A. So it's in lower levels.
How many people?
I'm going to guess 10 to 12,000 maybe sometimes. They were
selling out low A
They were selling
baseball.
out some games, yeah, in Dayton. Some of these towns have nothing else going on.
Yeah.
If there's no pro sports team there, that's why Alabama football does so well. There's no pro sports. It's like, this is all we got. But yeah, randomly, Dayton, Ohio, amazing stadium. Loved playing there. Or like Oklahoma City, really cool place to play. Or, just like a random town like that.
Any place where you can be the only show in town is probably good.
Yeah.
I think I have a friend that lives in Omaha.
Yeah.
And he's like, Storm Chasers games, fucking people are fucking wearing jerseys. Like, they care.
Albuquerque, places like that, or where's another... like San Antonio, kind of a little bit of that. El Paso, like you were talking about, UTEP.
Any of those like kind of outpost places where you're like, are we still in America?
Yeah.
Those probably have a cool sports culture.
The key is fan friendly, right? Because when you go to a big league game, it's really expensive. There's not much entertainment, really. It's like everything costs a lot of money. So and minor league games are for the fans, right? You get close to the players. You can probably get an autograph. You get kids can run the bases after. You get all that.
Get fireworks.
Dollar beers. You get fireworks a lot.
Yeah.
You get to do the camp out in the outfield and watch the Sandlot on the Jumbotron. Like that kind of shit.
If you buy a season ticket, you get to pitch the 8th inning. In a meaningless game. Once the team gets up or down by 15 runs, they're like, take their 9-hole hitter.
Right. The key to minor league baseball is promotion and fan entertainment.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like that's, I remember it was my sister. She's a singer, and she sang the national anthem at a Frederick Keys game.
Okay.
And so that might have been the first minor league baseball game I'd ever gone to. We were, I was 17, 18 at the time. And we stayed for the whole game, and I was like, this is fucking fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what the score is of the game. I'm not really paying attention to that. But everything else going on here is so, like, it just feels like a carnival.
Yes.
Like, and Frederick is a single A baseball stadium. But, yeah, I'm like, the idea of planning something like that from the ground up, for some reason, like, very often I will go to sleep dreaming of designing a minor league like that happens like once or twice a week.
Like, what if we put this Ferris wheel in the outfield?
Yeah, that's the last stop before I slip into a mini death multiple times a week. What would I do? The idea, you saying that there's a stadium with an ocean in the background, I'm like, that'll be a bucket list thing for me to go
really
check
cool.
out.
You got to. Yeah. You can hit on the way down, you can hit like Destin, Florida, a nice little vacation spot on the way down there maybe.
Are we on the
Panhandle? Yeah.
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 Where Pensacola, how far down is that?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
But it's like, you got to go like through Tallahassee from where I was. So when I was playing in Alabama, we would play against Pensacola. So you go that way around the Panhandle. But like Tampa, Clearwater's got really nice places. Like Daytona, Florida is nice too. The field sucks, but just being in Daytona is the beaches are nice. And
it's Daytona Beach, right?
Yeah.
I went to, in college, I used to do Cocoa Beach.
Okay.
And with my idiot friends, and we get real drunk there.
Nice.
4 years in a row.
Wow. See, like the East Coasters, Florida is like your California, right? That is your spot, you know?
We're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, you guys, like, that is your vacation.
And then you're like, Florida sucks.
Yeah. I'm like,
Florida,
we'll go to Hawaii instead.
Florida's like homeless California. Right. And now that California is so homeless, well, I don't even know what that makes Florida now.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, this is inspiring to know that there are baseball stadiums built on the water.
Yes.
That I got to see.
You got to go.
By the way, Tampa Bay.
Yeah. But that's a dome, though.
But they got to get rid of that. They're not even in Tampa Bay.
No,
they're in St. Petersburg.
Right.
Fucking move to Tampa Bay. Get the fucking money.
Right.
Get out of your stupid lease. Change your uniforms back to that neon shit that glows in the dark.
The Devil Rays back in the day.
Get a fucking water tank where the Devil Ray can swim around the stadium and it's humane. And then fucking let's see the ocean in the background. You fucking got all you need there for the coolest stadium in the fucking...
But that's just a bad baseball market. Like Miami got that new stadium. It's just not a good baseball market. And they got all the bells and whistles in there. They got like a club in the outfield, like a nightclub in the outfield. And I'm like, what is this?
Dude, Derek Jeter is working so hard to make it the Yankees. And it's like, bro, there's nothing.
It's not that important down there. Baseball's, there's a lot of great players that come from Florida, but the fan draw is just not there.
Well, even though they won 2 World Series, and then like a year later, there's like their stadium's half full. You're like, dude, you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that's the ownership selling things off as soon as they win, but still, I don't know. To me, when you're from a city, you got a sports team there. How the fuck are you not into it?
Right.
I don't get that. That's it's more of a California thing where you were saying like when we did your show.
Yeah.
Like
you got options, man.
California makes you earn. You got to earn.
You got to earn our attention.
Yeah.
Or we'll ignore you.
Yeah, Florida's the same way. You got to earn, and like even I'd say to a higher degree, you really got to earn it there.
Yeah.
And then in the East Coast, they're like, abuse us. Fans are like, you can be terrible for 30 years, and if
like the Mets, or for instance, right? Yes. Or even the Phillies, just torture us. You know,
the Phillies set the record a couple of years ago. They had like 1,000 losses. They're the first professional team to 1,000 losses. And it was like, how many children have like bad childhoods specifically because the Phillies can't get their shit together? It's like, there I feel like it's not even an option to lose the attention of the fans.
The media's tough on those teams out there.
They should be.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It's a weird... What's the... Mental health is good. I'm for going to therapy. And like, I don't want to like treat athletes like they're not people.
Yeah.
But like, at what point are we focusing too much on? Is there a point where you go too far with the mental health of athletes? Because like the whole Simone Biles thing, I'm like kind of in the middle of it. I'm in
the middle also.
I'm like, I don't think she's a coward. She's obviously not a coward.
No,
but I also don't think it's like heroic. There's a middle ground that nobody wants to take because it's like politicized.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, if you just follow that train of thought of like, well, you have to protect. Mental health is important. Mental health is like. A mental injury is like a physical injury. I'm like, well, then we shouldn't be allowed to boo. Because what does booing do for people's mental health? What is that like to travel as a baseball player for 82 games out of a year and have some dude screaming, you suck? Should that be allowed? That's fucking detrimental to people's mental health 100% as well.
It is.
So part of me is like, I want to be supportive and like, people are human and I want everybody to have a...
Yes.
I want everybody to feel like they can take care of themselves in moments like that. And then another part of me is like, it's fucking sports. Like, do we get to be competitive? Do we get to have a competitive fire? And like, do I get to watch a 1996 Carrie Strug go on a fucking broken ankle and think she's only doing it because they'll yell at her if she doesn't? I don't get to think she's an amazing person for overcoming an obstacle.
I've had a couple days to digest all this stuff.
Okay, let me hear it because
normally,
I'm struggling with this.
There's a lot of layers to this, right? I think there's that whole stigma of the USA Gymnastics in the past, the way they abuse those girls.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of that. A part of me thinks she's making a statement by doing this because it's like, I am going to make my own choices and USA Gymnastics is not going to make me do what they always did before. So I think there's that. There's also would Tom Brady quit at halftime of the Super Bowl? People are relating it to that, right? It's like, and she's self-proclaimed GOAT of gymnastics, which she is Like she's creating moves in the air and whatever routines that people haven't even scored numbers wise before. She is the GOAT. But if you're going to put yourself in that class, now you're going to be Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. Now you're in that class, right?
Yeah.
And people are going to say none of them would ever quit, quote unquote, in that situation. Obviously, mental health is a huge deal. You don't want to get to that place. What I first initially thought was like, it's taken 5 years to get back to the Olympics. You're in Tokyo right now. You're there.
Yeah.
And you're going to step back while, can you, just put it together mentally for a week or two, you know? Yeah. 5 years. You missed last year. What if who knows what's going to happen? What if this is her last Olympics and you never get to do it again? And you know what I mean? The other thing, back to what you're saying, they're going to yell at her if she fails. Simone Biles, in a public eye, she can't lose, right? Yeah. She's not allowed to fail. She's the best. She has to win gold or it's a failure. And they still got the silver, and they're like,
could have been
Should have been gold.
Should have been gold. Thanks a lot, Simone. Would they even have qualified without her? That's
exactly right.
Yeah.
There's so many layers there. I'm glad the other chick won. One of the other gymnasts won the all-around gold, which is cool. Yeah. Highlight somebody else. It's not all about Simone.
Yeah.
But that's all I know that I dumped a lot on you there, but there's so many layers to it.
There's so many layers to it, and it's like you just watch people online just tearing people tearing her apart, and then people tearing her apart for doing it. And everybody, it's almost like it feels like everything's just, it feels like everything's becoming, did you vote for Trump or not? And then you have to just decide what you think. There's a
large portion that's like, well, Naomi Osaka pulled out of the Wimbledon, I think, for mental health, and now her. And so there's that generation of, well, this is just a soft generation.
Yeah.
They don't want competition. It's okay to step back. There's a lot of people that are saying that. So, but obviously mental health is huge because maybe we didn't realize all this shit was going on with USA Gymnastics that is now coming to the forefront.
Yeah. And you're right. There's so many layers to it. And it's so dumb that the brave place to be now, I think, is to be like, there's truth to both sides.
There is.
And people are like, fuck you.
The answer is usually in the middle, right? The
answer's in the middle. It's like, I think she's a human being.
Yes.
And it's like, when I see that moment, I don't go, fuck her for quitting. I go, that's a human being. And that doesn't make her a hero for being that. It doesn't make her a villain for being that. People fall in the middle sometimes. And to me, it's like a testament to the fucking mind being the most powerful thing in the world. She's so far beyond anybody else in the sport, just head and toes above the next.
Yes.
The second place can't even see her.
Right.
And if your mind's not right, none of that matters. To me, that's the awe-inspiring part of what's happened. But
I was going to say, think about the way I thought related to it was a pitcher with a yips in baseball, or a position player with the yips where they can't throw.
Yeah.
You're mentally locked up. You can't throw.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what she's going through with they call it the twisties or whatever.
Twisties.
Where you don't, it's almost like vertigo in the air.
I gotta say, for as hard as gymnastics must be, they had to come up with a name that sounds tougher than twisties.
Oh, you got a case of the twisties?
Yeah, it's like if somebody spins your head around halfway and breaks your neck, you're like, ooh, you got a spinny. Yeah. You got a neck spinny. That sounds hard. It's like, no, I got my fucking neck broken.
Right.
Twisty sounds too adorable to be, I don't know where I am in the air and now I'm paralyzed.
Right.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I do think that there's I wish people could talk to each other about it, because there is such a fucking layered cake to it almost of you're right, abuse scandal can't be discarded. All the other stuff she overcame to get to that point can't be discarded. Overcoming obstacles is a part of sports, and I feel like a lot of people who don't like sports or don't understand sports are telling us how to watch sports now. And it's it's not even, you don't even like it. You're not even watching.
Exactly. How many of these people give a shit about gymnastics?
I had a fight with somebody where I was, somebody recently where they were not a fight, but just a conversation with a friend of mine who I was like, they should lower the rim in the WNBA so they can dunk.
Uh-huh.
I think it would help the sport. And you've never watched a game in your life. You don't even like it.
No, immediately it was a feminist thing coming out, right?
It comes and it's I understand. I guess I understand the argument, but it's call her a hero or burn in hell. And it's wait, hang on. Why is it that immediately? Why does it immediately have to be the most extreme version of it? Get on board with that or go fuck yourself.
Right.
I don't know, man. The middle has now become, it's weird. The middle has now become the extreme way to be. And it's more normal to just pick a side and fucking call the other side insane.
Yeah. There's also this thing with social media where it's not even being right anymore. It's I'm going to be first. I'm going to react first.
Yes.
And that's my emotions are going to just happen right now. You know, it's just like, you don't have to be first. Like take it in for a second before you react and get so, like we were just talking about, are you really that upset about gymnastics? Like, who cares?
Yeah, it's yes, I think.
And she's won so many golds already. It's just like, I think people got upset or like took offense to her saying she's a GOAT. And then, like I said earlier, when you put yourself in that class.
Well, she had a GOAT on her.
Right. We're expecting GOAT mentally too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's what people, I think got upset about.
Yes, I think that hurt her a little bit in that moment. One side doesn't want to acknowledge that, and it drives people insane.
Yes.
But it doesn't discount the other things that you were saying and that, like people on that side of it say, where it's like there are other factors beyond just fucking winning at all costs.
Right. People think the USA is never allowed to lose a medal, ever. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's okay. It's like it's not 1980 like Lake Placid. Like
the world has caught up to us in some athletic events.
The Russians can have it. Like it will be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we were still fighting the Cold War, I'd be like, how could you do this to America? But I don't think the stakes are as high. I mean, they are. Here's the thing. They are high. But I think it's like, it's just whatever.
We're so arrogant that we think we can't lose ever.
Sometimes when I watch the Olympics, I root against America. And that's like a weird thing because I'm a very patriotic person. I grew up in a military family. I like it here. And I was born overseas and have traveled a lot. But then when I'm watching like America play soccer against like Ghana a couple years ago, I'm like, who the fuck is rooting for America here? Like, Ghana's the underdog. Let's go for them.
Yes.
Or like when U.S. is playing like Iraq in soccer, I'm like, these players could get murdered if they don't win.
Yeah.
Fuck America. Go Iraq. Like,
right.
I remember hearing like stories of like the Colombian goalkeeper that got shot after the World Cup in '92. It's like they actually care about it way more than we do.
Right.
And like they're so under-resourced compared to this country.
For sure.
I don't know, like as a person that hosts a podcast about underdogs, I just can't find it in myself to root for America. It's weird. I should. But when the Olympics come around, I'm always rooting for the smaller country, like the country that has like 2 Olympians.
Sure.
Like one javelin throw.
Right, this is all they got.
Yeah, like who isn't hoping they win? They're one thing. America needs another gold right now. I don't know. So yeah, that's what it brings up for me.
Sure.
With Simone Biles. I'm like, am I rooting for Russia? They have it rough over there. I don't think they have air conditioners.
Other than the fact that they kind of cheat and they've been known to have some PEDs happening.
But when I think of that, I don't think of the people of Russia are cheaters.
Right.
I think of like that's
just the athletes or whatever, like the people above that.
People above the
whatever
athletes.
The hell they are, right? That federation, whatever it is, right?
We started watching the Americans a couple nights ago.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm rooting for the Russians. I mean, of course, like geopolitically, I'd like America to do well, but the Americans is a good show.
Yeah.
I view people are people everywhere in the world. It's like you're a product of your environment. So I have no judgment towards Russian people, even if I have no judgment towards a country we're at war with. Like the people there are just people,
right? You're also in those other countries, like especially like in the World Cup or like FIFA, all that stuff. Like there's a lot of shady money behind the results of these games.
Yes.
So that's not how it is really here. I mean, I'm sure there's money behind, but like not like that. Like their lives are on the line way more than ours.
Yes. Like we complained about how like dirty college football is.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh man, this is fucked up. Like what these big schools do with boosters and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. The goalie for the Colombian soccer team got murdered after the World Cup when he gave up a penalty kick.
Yeah.
That's a real story.
Yeah.
If that happened in this country, we would not stop fucking talking about it for like 8 years.
Right.
I feel like we don't have a lot of perspective here about the actual shit that people go through in other countries, how fucking harrowing some of those stories are.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to encourage my listeners to do right now is stop rooting for America in the Olympics. Stop.
We've won enough.
And that's not an anti-American thing. I love America, but in the Olympics, you should hope we lose every time.
It's an interesting point.
I love the women's soccer team was winning like 11-0, and they were like telling the other team to suck it, and I'm like, I'm rooting for the other women's teams. Like they're overcoming so much more to get where they are in that moment, and then we're just smashing them.
Our women's team is so good.
They're so dominant. How could you root for a team that's like the old Dream Team in '92?
Yeah,
it's
92,
like Jordan and Pippen dunking on a dude from Slovenia that looks like me.
Right.
I'm like, why would you root for that? Why would you root for them?
Isn't it kind of funny that our men's soccer team is bad?
It's terrible.
It is kind of funny that like people are actually way better than us at soccer. Like we're actually bad at something.
Did you watch Ted Lasso?
I haven't seen it yet, but everyone keeps telling me it's a really good show.
There's just a funny line about one of the guys that's like at the end of his career being like, I guess I'll go play in fucking America. Christ. And it's just such an insult to them to think about coming over here.
Yes.
The only American sports team worth rooting for is like an underdog team in the Olympics, like when we were going up against Russia and they have the better players.
Right.
Like if U.S. is going to play Brazil in a qualifying game, okay, I'll root for us then.
Right.
But if it's a situation where like we have the clear advantage, my pull for the underdog is bigger than my pull for my country in that case.
As you said,
sue me.
You've said it on my podcast, we're all backups in some way.
We're all backups in some way. You and me particularly, like I think even more than others.
For sure.
Look, dude, we're going like fucking an hour and a half.
Oh, that's a perfect thing to end on.
So look, tell my... well, thanks for doing the show.
For sure, man. Anytime. I'll come up here once a week if you want.
Once a week, new co-host. Tell my fans, tell people that I've guilted into listening to this podcast how they can find your podcast and support you.
Sure. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. You can follow me on Instagram at Too Tall Sports Podcast. On Twitter, it's at Too Tall Sports. I have a YouTube channel. Just type in Too Tall Sports Podcast. You can find me there. But yeah, subscribe if you want to listen. I do interview-based show and just try to feature different people within sports or sports psychologists, writers, and anybody that's related in sports companies, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I'd really appreciate it. Just Too Tall Sports Podcast. You can look me up. I appreciate it.
Thanks for doing the show, man. It was a lot of fun, and we'll have you back.
Thank you. Would love to do it.
All right, brother. Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to support us, visit erichellwig.com, where you can follow on social media, join the newsletter, visit the merch store, or email me directly. If you're on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, rate us 5 stars and write a review. If not, just subscribe from your preferred podcast platform. Lastly, if you know someone who would enjoy our content, please tell them about the show. That's erichellwig.com for all things backups, and we'll see you on the next episode.